was in the hospital and was stable. They have not announced any arrests. The California Department of Health Care Services say they believe that the Trump administration is targeting California's home health care system, which helps children and people with disabilities, in withholding $867 million in Medicaid reimbursement. More than half of the people in Kern County are on Medicaid, says the California Department of Health Care Services. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom. News every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Welcome to the rest world. In a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody. And a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those streaming on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, where we stream live at KERNradio.com. We got another busy broadcast and perhaps a fun broadcast, but I've got a heavy heart on this Wednesday. I will explain in just a moment. We will get into the dignified transfer of 4 American soldiers brought home this morning. You will hear from the president on that. Rafael Estrada opening statements began in his trial. He is the man alleged to have slit the throat of his wife in front of his own children. We'll unpack that for you. Then coming up at 4 o'clock, Jackie Eskew and Jim Wheeler are going to join us. They're talking about a community for addicts and folks in trouble that they're trying to get up on their feet. And of course, you know, Jim Wheeler and his foundation. We'll talk about the homeless with them. And then a more celebratory note. The Zaninoviches are joining us. Avery Zaninovich, and I'm sure she's bringing other Croatians with her. They recently won the Central Coast Wine Competition in a bevy of awards. We'll talk with them at 4:30. And the 5 o'clock, is anybody's guess? No, we'll talk about, this is for my producer. Please stand by. Please stand by. This is just for Chris. Don't go anywhere.
Are you about to do
what? I'm not just not did that nothing. I'm just playing a little audio. That's all.
Sure.
Just playing a little audio.
Shot off to third, and it got him hung up. Crawford's hung up. Crawford is throw to second. That is the game. That is the ball game.
Everybody won the first game 10-7, but hey.
Chaos on the bases. And a 2-1.
What was TJ Hooker thinking? What's the child's name? JT Rumbelow, JT Renaissance. What's the child's name?
JT Real Mutant.
What was he thinking?
I have no idea.
Okay, so here's the situation. There are runners on second and third with 1 out. Tanner Scott saws off the right-handed hitter. He sends a weak ground ball in the infield to Muncy. I don't know. This is a 21st century thing that I don't understand. All the ball clubs do it. It's run on contact. With second and third and 1 out, I don't know why you would have that guy run on contact on a weak ground ball in the infield. Just stay home, and you got second and third with 2 outs, and you still got a bat to run to get in 2 runs and win the ball game. They were down 2-1. But I'm not blaming the Phillies for that because a lot of ball clubs are doing this. It's 21st century baseball, run on contact. So they run on contact. Muncy gets the guy on third base in a rundown. JT Hooker smartly comes down to third base. He is on third base. Now, the only way the runner in the pickle is out. It's not a force play. They tagged him. Even if he went back and they were both on third base, that base now belongs to
JT Remuta.
But instead of staying on third base and having runs on the corner with 2 outs, literally, what could he possibly been thinking? He runs back to second base. And Mookie's like, really? And just makes a half-ass throw, and they get him out and they double him up, and the game is over. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Because to be honest with you, Tanner Scott was about to blow that save.
I know.
Did you watch the 9th inning?
I did.
Yeah, he was about to blow that. He got the guys that got on.
Batter.
I think he walked one guy and then another hard base hit. And if there had been 2 outs left, Phillies would have won that game. Maybe not. Tanner Scott's been pretty decent. He's blown a couple, but he's been pretty solid. But that was a fun win for the Dodgers. But we begin with some really sad news. You know, normally when I say we're beginning with a heavy heart, it is the death of someone. Thankfully, this is not the death of someone, but it is the end of an era for one of the best restaurants and one of the finest families in this community. I learned that Eurykio's is closed. I found this out through employees. People started calling me. It's fairly well known. I had 2 restaurateurs contact me, and I talked with fellow former employees of the restaurant, and I just wanted to, just say first how kind the Eurykio family has been to me and my friends, Mike Arier, and a lot of the guys that hung out there, Kenny Zimmerman, who worked there for many, many years. And it began with Papa Nick, as he was known, Nick Eurykio. He was a part of the Friars Club for many, many years. If you've ever been in the Eurykio's, I'm sure you've seen many of the pictures that are all throughout the restaurant with Papa Nick, with you name it. You name the 70s, 80s celebrity, and there's a picture with Papa Nick with that celebrity, whether it's Frank Sinatra, John Wayne, Liza Minnelli. I mean, you name it, any big star of the 70s and the 80s. And Papa Nick was their host, and they moved up here, and on June 1st of 1995, in a miraculous story, maxing out more than 30 credit cards, raising $150,000 and just rolling the dice. And as most of you know, in my opinion at least, the hardest business to get up on its feet and then keep it on its feet is the restaurant business. Because the owner has to be there 24/7, at least until you can create a Luigi's type family atmosphere, or a Casey's Steakhouse like atmosphere, or Eurykio's like atmosphere, which Claire and Nick and Steve, the whole family, created. But at the outset, you've got to be there every single night. Every single night. And anybody who remembers the 90s while Nick was alive, I think he passed away in 2014, knows that Papa Nick was there, always sharply dressed. I've never, ever seen him without a tie, sitting in that point chair at the bar, just overseeing and being the forever convivial host. And like I said, he was incredibly kind to me. One of the best honors, literally, in the 34 years that I've lived here, is I got an invitation to his farewell dinner. They had a dinner when he was retiring at the restaurant, and I got invited to that. I was really, really honored and had an opportunity. It was the last time I spoke with him. He was always incredibly kind to me. And of course, Claire picked up the baton and would sit in that very chair almost every single night. And I even created a relationship, Mike Arier and I, and some of our friends created a relationship with her husband, Mark, her second husband, another just outstanding human being. Became close with Brian, her son, and her daughter. And there were times Mike and I and Kenny and Brian would go to Mark's condo out on the bluffs and watch Green Bay Packer games. He's just a really nice guy, and they're just a wonderful family. And I know anybody that's ever been in the restaurant and ever had any contact with Claire knows that she's just an absolute angel, just a wonderful, wonderful human being, and just, as I like to call it, one of those people that makes our community better. And the entire family, Steve Eurykio, we went to Las Vegas. He was a service manager. He ran the restaurant. I forget what it's called at a hotel, but he ran the restaurant essentially and took care of us when we were in Las Vegas. Just an incredibly kind family. And I think one of the most important restaurants in our community. I really believe that, because I think they truly opened up downtown. You know, when I got here in 92, I was done with school in 94, so I was working in 94, 95, 96, and living downtown. and it was Mexicali, Bill Lee's, and Rice Bowl. That was about it. And then Eureka's came into effect about 95. And in the turn of the century, we've seen the expansion of that downtown area, particularly in that area where down in that whole circle, I'm not going to name any restaurants, but you guys know it is absolutely blown up. And now it's extended all the way down, further down, closer to Mexicali. But I think the fork in the road was the establishment of Eureka's. I truly, truly believe that. And they've had a long time list of employees that have been there forever, and just wonderful, wonderful people. Rafa, who I understand just recently went back to Mexico, longtime chef, and another great guy, became very close with Mike and I, and Mike and me, excuse me. And it's just a sad day in Bakersfield that we're saying goodbye to one of the best restaurants in town, and not necessarily saying goodbye to one of the families. I hope to have Claire on very soon. I know she wants some time to digest all of this, and we'll get her on and get her to talk about her dad and her family, and just the miraculous way they got this thing up on its feet, and the miraculous way they kept it on its feet, surviving the pandemic and getting through that, and just the hard times and the bad times, and like I said, it's just a sad day for our entire community. It really, really is. So let us get started on that sad note. We still have lots to do. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk about opening statements in Rafael Estrada's case. Let's just all hope. And, I was thinking about maybe we should get active. Maybe we should have a demonstration, like during Rafael Estrada's preliminary hearing. This is the man that's alleged to have killed his wife in front of his kids. Maybe we should have a demonstration during the preliminary hearing, begging our district attorney not to cut a deal. Please, Cynthia Zimmer, don't plea deal this case. This man came in allegedly in a drunken stupor in front of his children at a graduation party and took a pocket knife and slit the throat of his estranged wife. We don't want a plea deal on this. I think I can firmly speak for the family, and I don't know them from Adam, but I can speak for the community. I can speak for Ralph Bailey. Please, Cynthia, don't plea deal this one, as you have so many. This man needs to go to jail for a very, very long time. Please, Madam DA, don't cut a deal. Let's just pray that this man doesn't hire either David Torres or H.A. Sala, because the deal would be then imminent. We're just about to get started. It's the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96
Casey?
RN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
One could possibly pull off this whole weekend at Bernie's thing that they're doing. Well, there are people now on the internet that are saying, well, that picture was obviously AI generated and maybe he's been dead since June or whatever the thing is. Because they did say he was admitted to the hospital after a fall, but they've already got the 911 call and they said it was a cardiac arrest situation. I don't know.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
I had the double experience at Casey Steakhouse Friday night. I started in the stockyard next door, met a friend and had a couple of cocktails there, and then went next door to the main restaurant where Bobby and Jimmy are performing Tuesday through Saturday nights, as they were Friday, and had dinner in the main restaurant. And I did not have red meat. I had the chicken, the Ralph Bailey, that chicken breast that I talk about. But again, it's about expanding the menu. And if everyone is not feeling, there was a birthday party going on. That's what I talk about. Casey Steakhouse is famous for birthday parties and anniversaries and meetings and large tables of 12. And again, not everybody is feeling the ribeye, which is probably the most popular, the New York, my favorite, along with the filet. And so there are alternatives. Chef Daniel has expanded the menu. I've told you about the lobster mac and cheese, the different fish dishes, the chicken breast, the specials of the day. Where would you rather be than either in the stockyard right next door or the main restaurant, KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey Show. Hey, it's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Sangera Subaru. It's probably time to go on that summer trip. And what better way to travel than in a brand new Subaru? Now, if you want something sporty yet comfortable, then the choice is clear, an Outback. Plenty of room for the entire family. Plus, Outback gets 32 miles per gallon on the highway. And now, through July 31st, lease a 2026 Outback Premium CDT for $229 a month for 36 months and $5,017 due at signing. Every Subaru comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. Offer ends July 31st. So stop by, see my good friends Damon Kovas and Hassan Levy, and test drive a brand new Outback. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersville Auto Mall.
$229 per month plus tax for 36 months. Total of lease payments, $8,869. $5,017 total due at lease signing. Includes first month payment, excludes tax, title, license, and $85 document fee. Total lease cost $13,886, excluding tax and license. TSRP $37,287. No security deposit. Lease based on 7,500 mile per year, 15 cents per mile over. Available to qualified customers through Subaru Motor Finance on approved credit. Expires July 31st, 2026. Excludes optional equipment and dealer installed accessories. VIN number TY514370.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus installed over 1 million square feet of flooring last year alone. Over 20 years of Bakersfield's best flooring store means you can trust us with your hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and of course, carpet. Come in today to see over 100 waterproof floors from our in-stock inventory. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Your free in-home estimate is waiting for you. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Did you find my glasses anywhere? You did? Where are they? Couldn't find it. Oh, this is the third pair.
Oh, they're in there. I just saw them.
I left them last night.
Yeah, no, they are in there. I know for a fact.
Because I wouldn't have read anything last night. And I was just telling you that I went to, where did I buy these? Oh, at right down here next to Lawson's, whatever that store is, where I bought the 3-pack. Because I wouldn't have been able to read last night. Because I was like, how did I leave my glasses in the studio? They're in here somewhere. That's all right. Unfortunately, I've got more bad news. The dignified transfer took place at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. And the president was there to greet, oh, Lord, Tyler James Feehan, who has been posthumously uplifted from first lieutenant to captain. Sergeant Angel Rompero, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, 28 years old. One of the saddest is Isabella Gonzalez. She was 19 years old. She was a private. She was also on that base in Jordan that was struck by an Iranian missile. A year ago, Isabella was in high school. A year ago, she was in high school. And the fourth body was the sergeant who was promoted to Staff Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton. He was killed in a drone accident in northern Iraq. The president was there to greet them. And here's one of the comments that he made from Dover Air Force Base.
They are indeed great heroes, actually. They said, and all of them said very strongly, we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. They won't have a nuclear weapon. So we're going to honor them. And one of the hardest things to do, for me, it's one of the hardest things to do as a president, but has to be done.
As we go to honor these soldiers, do you have an update on the investigation as to how they were killed in Jordan?
No, they're doing that. That'll be released.
You know what? It was Iran targeting barracks.
Well, they're going to pay a big price. They're being decimated.
Is that report inaccurate?
Yeah, please.
Sir?
I don't know what to say about that bite. I don't really want to talk about this. I'm going to take Stella's advice and kind of stay away from this because I think there are two options here. We either walk away or we send in troops. And I'm scared to death that not only is the former on the table, because we know that because it was at one point. They were very, very close to trying to take Karg Island. But now Pickaxe Island, I understand, is the new target. The Israelis have notified us that that's where they have moved the uranium and the centrifuge. Meantime, I really don't know what advice the president is getting, what polls he's looking at, or what his inner circle is telling him. But I can't make sense of this next bite.
Well, Americans aren't against the war. A poll just came out. Americans don't want high gasoline prices, but they're not against the war. That just came out loud and clear in a poll. Nobody wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Do you want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? You think it's good?
To me, that's dangerous. I don't know if that audio was clear enough, but what he was saying is Americans are not against the war. Mr. President, almost 70% of Americans are against the war. And as I said yesterday, or maybe the day before, there are two things that a president never wants. The president never wants a war during his administration, during his time in office. It dominates his every thought, and it sidetracks any plans that he has, whether it was Johnson's Great Society or the plans that Lincoln had for the country. It derails everything George Bush, it derails every plan that you ever had, and it becomes your number one priority. And the only other thing that a president never wants is an unpopular war. Because we've seen unpopular wars literally run presidents out of office. Lyndon Johnson refused to run, which is, I'd have to go through the books, but that is ridiculously rare, where a one-time popular incumbent does not even run for re-election, doesn't even run for the nomination, because he knew Vietnam was so unpopular and the people chasing him were pro-end the war, and he was between a rock and a hard place and could not do that. And I think that's where the president finds himself now, where either I just don't understand what victory looks like beyond troops on the ground, because I think one thing we have discovered, the Iranians cannot be defeated from the air. We played you audio yesterday from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs who said, quote, air power is limited. That was a very subtle way of saying we cannot bombard them to wave the white flag. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So I am of the belief that with Trump's ego or pride or whatever it is, he's not going to walk away. If there was somebody who could walk away, it could be Trump, because he could create his own scenario. We won. I did what I wanted to do. We accomplished everything we've wanted, and then I'm going home. Now, that flies in the face of yesterday's testimony by Pete Hegseth, who was asking Congress for $87 billion more dollars. But to me, as someone who's followed history, who knows a little bit about war, the only logical next step is boots on the ground. If the chairman of the Joint Chiefs says we can't accomplish what we want through the air, then what's next? Now, it may be limited excursions, but these dignified transfers could become more common. And that will be the end of the Trump administration. That will be the end of the Republican Party. Because the Iranians know, just as George Washington knew in the 18th century, time is on my side. The other guy is the one that's got to wait. George III is the guy that's got to wait. Donald Trump's the guy that's got a midterm coming up and a 28 presidential election. Time is on our side. And we've taken a blow from America And we're a country that doesn't give a damn about its people. Hell, we kill our own people. We don't give a damn about our own people. Bomb them. Go ahead. We head into the back half of the hour. Rafael Estrada, his trial has begun, opening statements for today. And again, let's all collectively cross our fingers and just hope that the district attorney's office doesn't cut a plea deal with this man. He is accused of killing his wife in front of his own children, allegedly. Quick timeout. Then at the top of the hour, Jackie Eskew and Jim Wheeler join us. And Avery Zaninovich, the Croatians at 4:30 from Tolo Wines. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. I'd stick around if I you.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. military has announced that they are conducting their 12th night of strikes against Iran, as both sides are increasingly targeting civilian infrastructure. U.S. Central Command said Wednesday that the strikes are designed to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten civilian mariners and commercial vessels transiting regional waters, as the U.S. pushes to regain control over the Strait of Hormuz and restore the flow of international shipping. Tropical storm Bertha has made landfall on the southern tip of Louisiana. The storm, moving slowly along the Gulf Coast on Wednesday, is packing strong winds that extend as much as 100 miles from its center. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 6 points. The Nasdaq dropped 146. The S&P 500 lower by 10. More on these stories at townhall.com.
And I was looking at him earlier saying, who the hell?
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you think?
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. A woman who refused to stop for the highway patrol Tuesday morning about 11 near Grapevine Road may have been driving drunk, says CHP. The woman, who is from Rialto, was charged with suspicion of DUI when she was finally stopped when CHP put spike strips out near Taft Highway. They say she initially refused to get out of the car, but finally surrendered. And the driver of a Dodge pickup who wrecked Monday afternoon on the side of Highway 99 near California Avenue by hitting a semi that was parked there may have also been driving impaired, says CHP. They say he faces the same charge and that his passenger was hurt and had to go to the hospital when the truck collided with the semi and ended up getting stuck there. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Let's be honest, money can feel overwhelming. Markets change, life changes, and most people are left wondering, am I actually on track? That's where MoneyWise comes in. We help people simplify the complex, make smart financial decisions, and move forward with confidence, without the jargon, without the pressure. Retirement planning, big life transitions, or just getting organized and knowing where you stand. And now you can find us in a new home, the historic Woolworths building, right in downtown Bakersfield. MoneyWise, clear advice, local roots. Learn more at moneywiseguys.com.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through LPL Financial. LPL Financial and MoneyWise Wealth Management are independently owned and operated.
Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
Judge blocks the Virginia law barring ICE agents from wearing a mask. Can you believe that? Can you believe they have to have a law prohibiting masks? That's the insanity going on. A judge ruled that it's likely unconstitutional. All they had to do was get a message from the DOJ. Excuse me, but that's unconstitutional. Go away. You know, swat them like a fly.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
And it makes us I go into a wind fire. I've keep fire went down that night. The flames went higher. It burns.
842-5376-842-KERN. Began in trial of Rafael Estrada. He May of 25. His wife had asked, or Danae Estrada had asked him to sign divorce papers. Then they had a graduation party. It's eerily similar to the O.J. Simpson killing, because if you remember, O.J. killed Nicole and Ronald Goldman on the day of his daughter's ballet recital. O.J. showed up late. They were there with the family, Nicole and her mother, etc. And he was told they were going to La Luna and that he was not invited. And it's always been my speculation that I think O.J. was going to take her out at some point, but I think that was the tipping point. He had a flight leaving that night. He thought he had the perfect alibi. He thought he could sneak over there. They lived very close to one another in Brentwood. He thought he could sneak over there. I think he was assisted by someone. I don't think he did it by himself. I think he did the murders by himself, but I don't think he did he traveled over there by himself. And it's the same situation with Mr. Estrada. His wife had asked him to sign, as I said, divorce papers earlier in the day. She told him he was not invited to the graduation party for one of their children on Monterey Street. And he showed up nevertheless. And according to witnesses, he was clearly intoxicated. A fight ensued, and he pulled out a pocket knife and slit her throat in the presence of at least one of her children. He's been charged with, among other crimes, willful cruelty to a child and first-degree murder. And again, we might have to do some sort of protest. I'm going to try to contact the family and see maybe we can go down to the bell tower at Truxton Avenue and petition or protest, or at least encourage our district attorney's office not to cut a deal. I have no idea yet who is representing Mr. Estrada. I would doubt if it was one of the premier attorneys. So for those of us searching justice, that's a good thing, because it seems to me that whenever there is a powerful attorney who is clearly more gifted than anybody on Truxton Avenue, the DA's office cuts and run. They make deals with people that kill people in automobile accidents. They cut plea deals with people who pimp out human beings and put them in slavery and have them have sex for money and turn the money over to him. People that are into kiddie porn and have weapons they have no business having, and they'll do like 36 months for human trafficking. When at a time when this community is really starting to grasp the gravity and presence of human trafficking in our own community, where we have several organizations and a woman by the name of Des Perkins, who's been kind of the point person on bringing this to light and trying to fight it. And how the hell do you fight it if your top cop is cutting deals with a pimp, with a kiddie porn obsessed pimp who, with time served, is going to do about 36 months in jail? So excuse me if I am extremely frightened that Mr. Estrada is going to get some attorney that's going to wheel and deal with the DA's office, and they'll cut it down to manslaughter. He'll get time served, and he'll do maybe 3 or 4 years for slitting this woman's throat in front of her children. And let's pray I'm wrong. Let's all cross our fingers and hope I'm wrong. But if history tells us something, there is a trend going on. And I have sources that tell me that there's absolute chaos in the DA's office, that there are attorneys filing suit against the county and against the DA, that morale is at an all-time low. And whether that is due to the Scrivener thing, I have no idea. I have tried to defend Cynthia Zimmer on the Scrivener situation, although we've learned more than we did not know from Christina Scrivener, Zach Scrivener's estranged wife. We've learned that Kathy Scrivener, Zach Scrivener's mother, according to Christina Scrivener, was at the home while the crime, which was not punished, which was not charged correctly by the AG's office, which is about to allow Mr. Scrivener to complete a mental diversion program and walk away from this entire incident as if none of it happened. That he was never molesting his daughter, that he was never stabbed in the back by one of his sons, he was never throwing around a gun that day in front of his children, he was never high on drugs, he didn't have weapons that he didn't possess. It all disappears because Humberto Sala is a gifted attorney and our DA's office is our DA's office. And I beg your pardon, that is absolutely wrong. Our AG's office is our AG's office. And that's what I meant by I've tried to defend Cynthia Zimmer. She had nothing to do with the mischarging of Zach Scrivener. That is all from Sacramento. And that's why you should vote for Michael Gates for Attorney General. And let's get Rob Bonta and his band of clowns like Joe Perry, who got sent down here to try to tangle with H.A. Sala. Let's hope that we can get rid of them. But when I see a kid high on drugs, high on marijuana, and T-bones a grandmother and kills her, and is going to do a couple of years in prison because of a plea deal, when I see a pimp who put a woman in slavery get a plea deal, call me crazy to be worried that Rafael Estrada, who is patently guilty, will wait and have a good trial, and then we'll send him to jail, as they used to say, the old phrase, we'll have a trial, then we'll hang him. But he's alleged to have done these things. He is innocent until he is proven guilty. But call me crazy for being extremely, extremely paranoid or concerned or scared to death that we're going to run into this guy running the streets of Bakersfield in 4 or 5 years. It just doesn't make any sense. It truly doesn't. And like I said, I think we should form a group on day one of his preliminary hearing and go down to Truxton Avenue with signs and noisemakers and plead with the DA's office not to cut a deal with Rafael Estrada and hope that he gets the justice that he so deserves. He's found guilty of killing his wife and he's sent away for a very, very long time. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we come back. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. Coming up at the top of the hour, one of our favorite people, two of our favorite people, Jackie Eskew and Jim Wheeler, are going to join us. They're trying to put together a community for addicts, kind of a hostel, if you will. Hostel, hostel, not hostile, Hostile. Like the DA's office is going to be hostile to me, I'll tell you that. And then Avery Zaninovic, the crazy Croatian, joins us from Tolo Wines. They just swept up a bunch of awards in a recent wine competition. Let them take a little victory lap. And then we'll give Burdick some more crap about blowing the Philly game last night, 2-1. They go back at it in about an hour for game 3 of the 3-game set. Then it's back to New York to take on the Metropolitans. That's good news because they suck. And then we're back home for, I believe, a 9-game homestand. And LeBron has yet to tell the world that he's going up the street to Golden State. That's my prediction, and I'm standing by it. Let me tell you something. Have you ever been to Brentwood? It's one of those beautiful communities in America. That boy ain't leaving Brentwood. Just telling you, he ain't going back to Cleveland. He's too old to be running around the streets of Miami. He's going to stay in Brentwood. He'll get a palatial plaid. He'll get a palatial pad in some high-rise building in San Francisco. The wife will come up on Thursdays, stay till Sunday for home games. And for away games, he'll fly. He won't fly with the team. He'll fly back to Brentwood, kick it with the wife, and then fly up for practice the next day. He ain't leaving Cali. Ain't happening. Just ain't happening. Quick timeout. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. On a hump day Wednesday, 22nd day of July. Right here on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. We stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we got the latest on our road improvements downtown. We're halfway there. We got more rich people angry about poor people moving in next door. People actually think there's a chance we're going to be a sanctuary city Thursday, plus news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. Right here at News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230, KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
If you're a local businessman and you take your IT seriously, there are two things that you absolutely need to do. One, you need to listen to the Ralph Bailey Show on Wednesdays at 3:30 when Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, come in, basically talking to business folks on what you should be looking for, what should be alarm bells when people are coming back and fixing the same thing over and over again. And the next thing you need to do is pick up the phone and call the Van Alstynes at Adaptive Networks at 241-0638. 241-0638. As I have talked about so often, we have teamed up for almost a year with American General Media and Adaptive Networks because as a radio station, we absolutely depend on our IT. So we had to go to a team that was reliable, competent, and has the best customer service in Kern County. If you're a serious business person, call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An Elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
People are chiming in with their favorite Eurykio's dish. Mine personally wasn't even on the menu. Well, it used to be that they took it off, but Rafa would make it for me anyway. And that was the chicken Florentine. They're chunks of chicken. They look just kind of like this, a little smaller, and they had like a hole in it, and you would stuff it with spinach, with a little side of fettuccine Alfredo. That was my absolute favorite, my absolute go-to. I thought they had the best sea bass in town. Stella was just saying that in the chat room. The sea bass was incredible. The sand dabs. I've always said that the best seafood in this town are at 2 Italian restaurants and a steakhouse. It used to be Eurykio's, the sand dabs, the sea bass, and Gino's salmon and his tuna, and the salmon and the mahi-mahi and the swordfish at Casey's Steakhouse. That's the one thing we truly don't have. Once Seabreeze went out of business, we have not had a decent, strictly seafood restaurant in this town. And like I said, those, to me, those are the three best places to get seafood. Nobody touches Gino's candied topped salmon on Thursdays. Nobody. Chef Daniel's close at Luigi's. I have that at Case Steakhouse. But yeah, and if you're just joining us, we had to report that Eureka's has officially closed. And it's a really sad day. And as I said, there's no better person in our community than Claire and that entire family, and Papa Nick, who was just just one of those people, man. Just one of those people that our community was hurt when he passed away. We were less of a community, and I think we're lesser for the loss of the restaurant. But it's been a miracle run, 31 years, and to survive the pandemic and all the ups and downs of the restaurant business, which again I think is the hardest thing to do in business, to try to keep a restaurant up. I forget what the numbers are, but it's like half die in like 6 months, and another quarter die within 2 years. It's a really difficult thing to do. So when you see people like Cassie Biddle and Gino Valpredo and Jeff Salters, and people who can not only keep their business going but expand it, they're doing something right. 842-5376, 842-KER. And what was your favorite Eureka's dish? Feel free to chime in. What do you got on the board, Chris, before we get Mr. Wheeler and Miss Eskew in here?
The first person put in their favorite dish, which was the beef stroganoff.
Ooh, good choice. Good choice with the beef stroganoff. God, that was like, it was almost sweet, wasn't it? God, my mom makes a pretty mean beef stroganoff as well, but you're right, that's pretty good. What else you got?
Ralph, let me remind you and help you understand this regime in Iran needs to be defeated, period. If it means boots on the ground, so be it. Are U.S. citizens largely in favor of what our president is doing to crush the radical Islamic terrorist leaders in Iran? Yes, I believe our president, not your opinion. That said, TRBS is an opinion show. You are entitled to your opinions.
Well, that's good to know. Appreciate you. But you have lost your ever-loving mind. If you think this country, you think we're going to walk in there to Tehran, the size of Tehran is bigger than Texas. Not quite as big as Alaska, our largest state. But you think we can go in there and it's not going to take 3, 4, 5 years? You think after 19 years in Afghanistan that Americans have a stomach for body bags coming home on the daily and us going hand to hand with the Iranians? Really? Really? I think his only option are small excursions, maybe Carg Island, maybe Pickaxe Mountain, and claim victory and get the hell out. But this, if what you say is true, it is the end of the Republican Party. It is the end, and it will become the rise of the Democratic Socialist Party. They will become very, very popular. It'll be a very, very short run for them because a lot of kids are going to clamp onto them with all the free stuff and at war with boots on the ground. And it's nice to see you so casually are willing to commit American boys and girls to a war that would at least take 2 to 3 to maybe 5, 7 years. Who knows? That's the thing about war. That's why I've been talking about this so critically, much to the chagrin of my listeners. I understand that. But the reality is this is coming. I've been warning against this, but it's coming. He's right. I think that this is inevitable. And I think it's going to destroy the Republican Party. I don't think there's any way we can get in and out of there within years. This is the IRGC we're talking about. These aren't even the North. This isn't like the Viet Cong. These are trained militia that lead terrorist organizations and export terrorism more than any other country. And you willy-nilly are willing to commit American boys and girls? What else you got?
Heck, Trump is making so much money from the presidency, he can give $10 million to each of the family members of the soldiers who passed and still have $1.5 billion left over from what he made last year.
Yeah. The saddest thing I heard today was the Isabella Gonzalez, the 19-year-old, who just 12 months ago was in high school. And now she's gone. That's just not right. It's just not right. What else you got?
Eurekaio's will be missed greatly. Best food in town.
I think it was one of the best Italian restaurants in town. There's no question. And like I said at the top of the show, I think it opened up the door to what we know now as that downtown area with all those restaurants on the streets just north and to the east of Eurekaio's. It was just a fun place. Claire always made it kind of a family place. I think if you pay attention to the top restaurants in this town, most of them are family owned. Most of them, on most days, you can see the family. You know, you're hard pressed to go into Luigi's without seeing a Valpredo. You will never, ever, very rarely walk into Casey Steakhouse and not see Cassie Biddle or her mother, or see one of the Lee brothers at Bill Lee's, or see part of the Guerra family or at Mexicali. It's just, you have to be on top of it 24/7. And it has to be, when you commit to this, it has to be kind of a family thing, because those are really, in life, the only people you can truly trust, until you can create that kind of familial atmosphere that these restaurants that I talk about, namely Eurekaio's, can create. And you can trust your employees because they've been with you for 10, 15, 20 years. One of my sources that told me the story had been with them for 27 of the 31 years that they've been in existence. And so when you create that kind of loyalty, then you can back off. But as most of you know, if you've ever been into Eurekaio's, Claire is there almost every single night, sitting in the very chair that her father occupied every single night. And it's that kind of dedication and that kind of diligence that is demanded. And it's one of the reasons that so many restaurants fail, because a lot of people get into it with good intentions, and then they trust people that they don't really know that well. And they believe that, you know, I don't necessarily have to be here on a Friday night. I've got things to do. I've got a life. And you can't run a restaurant like that. So I have no idea what I'm talking about. But my observation has been, you know, that these top owners are there just about every time I go there. Gino is just beginning to find him in a position where he can back off, because again, you know, they've been in business for 116 years, and he's been doing it for about 30, 35 years. And he's got employees that have been there for 25, 30 years, where you can trust these people and rely on these people. But like I said, our community is much worse off than it was when Eurekaio's was open. What else you got?
This next one just says sand dabs.
Sand dabs that's Arier's favorite. Arier often gets the sand dabs. Like I said, the chicken Florentine was my favorite. Just this stuff with spinach, and then the fettuccine that I could drink Rafa's Alfredo sauce out of a glass. It was so good. And just everything. The lasagna was great. I celebrated so many people's birthdays and so many birthdays. I've been on so many first dates at Eurekaio's. It was the place to be. It really was. And like I said, I truly believe kind of kicked the door open for the downtown expansion that we've seen in the 21st century. One more. Anything?
The last one just says, I voted for Trump twice. I regret that now. He did everything he said he wouldn't do.
That's the issue I'm having. I mean, I bought in for this kind of period of isolation. And now we're truly facing a war with men and women on the grounds of Iran. Even Howard Marcus conceded to a point that troops on the ground is something that I think they're definitely talking about. And the only reason I say that is because they have in the past. We learned through reporting that there was a period prior to the so-called MOU and the 60-day ceasefire where they were very close to committing an excursion on Karg Island. But again, now Pickaxe Mountain, I am read and told, is the new topic. We head into the 4 o'clock hour. The Zaninoviches join us at the bottom of the hour. But first, we're going to talk with Jim Wheeler and Jackie Eskew. They've got a community project that they'd like to see get up on its feet. We'll talk with them after these important words. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The House adopted a Republican-only $95 billion budget proposal, a long-shot effort to fund the Iran war and other White House priorities. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says the Iran war does not help the American people afford basic needs.
Donald Trump's reckless and costly war of choice in Iran has skyrocketed gas prices on everyday Americans who are already suffering from the failed Republican economy and drowning in its poor management.
While Indiana Congressman Marlon Stutzman says Congress needs to back U.S. troops fighting Iran.
U.S. service members are working day and night to be sure Americans are safe from a nuclear bomb in Iran and to advance peace in the Middle East. Our military is the most lethal fighting force known to man, and they are depending on us to help them finish the job.
The measure now goes to the Senate. New Jersey's governor says thousands of non-citizens in the Garden State ended up being eligible to vote due to a computer error. Correspondent Laura Winters reports.
Liberal New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill admits more than 6,000 non-U.S. citizens were on the New Jersey voter rolls. She says 6,600 people were incorrectly registered when they applied for a driver's license. The Democrat governor claims 400 of them ended up voting in elections. These people have reportedly been deleted from the system. President Trump says this episode in New Jersey underscores the need to pass the Save America Act, which requires voter ID and proof of citizenship. Laura Winters reporting.
Tropical storm Bertha has made landfall on the southern tip of Louisiana. The storm is packing strong winds that extend as much as 100 miles from its center. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 6 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals, and it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Meet Lee Platts, a renter whose possessions fill not only her apartment, but also the darkest corners of a mini storage unit. A land of both truth and fiction. Truth. Everything inside is protected by Progressive. Fiction. One day, Lee will fit into her clothes from senior year of high school. Renters. Discover coverage for what you love and what you can't get rid of in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
A June 1st, 2027 trial date is set for...
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
The Highway Patrol believes that a woman that led them on a chase Tuesday may have been drunk. I'm Chris Davis. It wasn't a chase at first. The Highway Patrol tried to pull a car over that had been swerving near Grapevine Road about 11 a.m. But they say that car did not stop, and the woman who was driving hit the gas, leading them on a chase, which was not high speed, but was somewhat dangerous, with her hitting a guardrail at one point. She was finally stopped near Taft Highway with spike strips and initially refused to get out of the car. Officers say the woman eventually surrendered and was charged with suspicion of DUI. And a wreck that happened on Highway 99 near California Avenue Monday afternoon may have also been caused by impaired driving, says the Highway Patrol. They arrested the driver of a Dodge pickup, which was pulling a trailer that hit a semi on the shoulder of the highway and then got stuck. CHP says the passenger of the Dodge pickup truck was hurt and was sent to the hospital while the driver was being pulled out and cuffed. If you were one of the 11,000 people who got a letter saying that you have to retake the written test for your driver's license, you may have some cause for concern. Steve Gordon, the director of the Department of Motor Vehicles, says that some of the irregularities that have them making people retake the test could have been cheating related. He says some of the cases have already been referred for prosecution. If you got one of those letters, you have 30 days to retake the test or you could lose your license. The California Department of Healthcare Services says they believe the Trump administration is targeting California's in-home healthcare system, which helps children and people with disabilities, and withholding $867 million in Medicaid reimbursement. That announcement was Tuesday about both California and Minnesota. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Welcome to the rest of a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 22nd day of July. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. Coming up, the crazy Croatians are going to join us. Avery Zaninovic. They're coming off of a wine competition up in the Central Valley that they just absolutely destroyed. We'll give them a victory lap. Then coming up at the 5, we've got some miscellaneous news and notes to get to. Talk about more about Rafael Estrada. And a shocking poll has come out in the 2028 presidential election. I know it's early, but it's worth talking about. I'm not making this up. This is a true story. Get ready. Kamala Harris is leading Gavin Newsom in one poll by 7 points, in another poll by 18 points. As a Republican, let us all get down and pray that Ms. Harris wins the nomination. Let's all just say a silent prayer that she wins the nomination. Just a moment of silence for Kamala Harris. We'll talk about that. But as those that are streaming on YouTube could tell, I am surrounded by two of my favorite people. To your right, my left, Jim Wheeler. And I don't have to introduce Jim Wheeler. Everybody knows Jim Wheeler, but I will introduce him in just a second. And Jackie Eskew is here as well. They're here to talk about their Community First Village and their home community village. Jim, Jackie, thanks for coming in and talking with us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Who would like to start to explain to the community what you guys are trying to do?
I think I'm here to support Jackie, so I'm going to let her start. So just real quick, the Jackie and Darlene Dennison had approached me about a model project in Austin, Texas, and asked if Flood could help them with the project to kind of get it up and going. And so I just wanted Jackie to share. Darlene can't be here, but I wanted Jackie to sort of share the impetus for that and their personal experiences. You know, one of the things that happens is that's so frustrating for me and other service providers is that, you know, people say, oh, there's all these services, people aren't accepting resources. And Jackie has a first-person experience dealing with the system that I think the people deserve to hear.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Darlene Dennison is a good friend of mine, and she called me one day, and she was crying because her brother has schizophrenia. He was losing his housing that he'd lived in for a very long time for, I think, like $500 or $600 a month. It was a crazy amount of rent for these days. And she had been calling around trying to find services. And I think she probably even called you, Jim.
Yes, she did, yeah.
And could not find anything for him, and he was going to be homeless. And I thought, there's just no way, So I started calling around. I said, we'll put our heads together. We're going to find a way to help him. And it was really discouraging and very hard. And that's when I started to become aware that there is not enough shelter beds. Flood, for instance, people will call 211, and I'm not going to it's not that I'm throwing anybody under the bus. I hope that's not my point.
Right.
But they'll call 211 and leave a message, and a few days later, they'll get somebody to respond to them. They'll go down to Flood, and Flood does an amazing job trying to help people, but there's only so many beds, and sometimes they're turning away people, like hundreds.
We turn hundreds of people away every month that want to go to the shelter, yes.
And I think people really don't realize, because it's something we think we know, but we don't really know till we're out there trying to help people that are on the street.
Right.
There's a lot of people that want help and that I've tried to help personally, where I couldn't find a bed and I had to, really call around and keep on working at it. So, and I know Jim really deals with this more than anyone.
Every day, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You turn away hundreds of people?
Yes, because
due to
they're
the
not
lack
enough
of beds?
Typically, every morning we have a shelter coordinator, and she calls the Brundage Lane, M Street, the Mission, Open Door, Hope on Heart, the main shelters in Bakersfield, and they usually tell us how many beds are available. Maybe we get sometimes 5. Maybe if we're lucky, it's a good day, it's 10 beds that are available for that day. And if you ever drive by Flood every morning on Truxtun Avenues, on F and Truxtun, you'll see there are people outside waiting. And the people that are outside our offices waiting, they're waiting to go to a shelter or to see if a shelter bed opens up. And so we have, for the first time in a long time, we have more people in shelter in Kern County than we have people that are unsheltered. And that is, in a way, that's a great statistic, because it means that those people are not on the street causing problems and, bothering businesses and so forth, and building encampments. But on the other hand, we've filled out our capacity. And so we need to start looking at other options and opportunities. And as fast as we can move people out of the shelters into permanent housing, those resources are full as well. And so we get a backlog. We end up warehousing people a lot of the times, which is not ideal. So that's why this Community First Village in Austin, Texas, they created a model that's been replicated across the country. And I had the flood board allowed me to go back in March to go do a tour, and I was just so impressed with what they're doing there. And most of that, the Community First Village in Austin, has been funded by private funding. So
yes,
and so we wanted to. Darlene and Jackie became aware of Community First Village a couple of years ago. And Darlene had a meeting, and people from the county, people from the city, all the service providers were there at Hodell's.
Alan Graham.
And Alan Graham, who is the founder of Community First Village, he came out and spoke, and there was so much excitement in the room. But because of some personal tragedy and so forth, we weren't able to really get that up and running. And so now that everything's kind of settled, Flood is working with the Hope Community First board. And that's Darlene and Jackie and a few other folks. And we're trying to get something similar built here in Kern County that is in Austin, Texas. And that would really help us to mitigate the backlog that we have for people. The major issue with unsheltered homelessness is the visibility issue, right? People see see people on the streets, they see people in the doorways of the businesses, they see the trash and so forth, and then encampments on the river, and they get frustrated, and I get the frustration, and so we, instead of continuing to have our hand out to the government, we're saying, let's try to see if we can get something started here that the government can assist us, but we're not totally dependent on public funding to get that up and running. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish here.
Well, and even more than the housing feature of that is the community. They have enabled the community to get involved, and their support among the formerly homeless has really changed how they are, how their life is.
Sure.
I met one in particular that I was so impressed with, and he told me, he spoke to me in so much, you could see all the dignity that he felt in having his own place, paying his own rent, having work opportunities, you know, at the community, and the sense of belonging. And I had asked him when we were talking, I said, well, how long were you homeless? And he said about 12 years. I was absolutely floored when he told me that he had been living in the community for about 6 months, because before me stood this person that was clean, proud, had respect for himself and for us. And I realized at that moment that this is not a government issue. This is a community issue. Giving them, you know, support, giving them a sense of belonging, purpose in their day. They have, you know, gardens to, you know, tend. They have opportunities to work.
Right. So how close are you to making this a reality? I know you talked about it. You're talking about 50 acres here in Kern County?
We would love to have 50 acres. That's what they started with in Austin, Texas, so that they could grow. And they lay out the communities, about 40 to 50 homes in each community, so that they form a little neighborhood. But they also have a art center, they have a community garden, they have a store. So they have all those places to participate in. So that's where having the opportunity to grow, you know, is something that we want to think about as well.
So the philosophy has been in homeless services for the last 10 or 15 years, and I've been doing this since 2007, has been, you know, as housing first, housing first, housing first. And housing is important. If you're living on the street, you need a place to stay. You need some kind of stable housing situation. But this model is community first, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's community first. What people need is housing, but they also need a sense of community and a sense of belonging. And so when you go, if you were to go to Austin and tour the I hate to use the word project, but the project, the community, there you go, thank you. You'll see that it's well kept. It doesn't look, it's a total paradigm shift with what's been happening. And I think that again, it's been replicated across the country. And I think I'm excited. The reason I got involved in this project is because I think it's something that we can do here. And I think it sort of bridges the gap between the people who are, you know, who are always, you know, homeless industrial complex. We're all in it for them, only in it for the money, and, you know, the detractors and the people who want to help, but they don't know how to help. And I think that this helps to bridge a gap in those, with those perspectives, so that we can come together and say, okay, what can we do as a community? How can we help to build something that's going to truly make a difference long-term for the people, and that's going to impact the folks that are unsheltered and living in our streets.
Yeah. Talking with Jackie Eskew and Jim Wheeler from Flood Ministries. Let's get to how close are we? And obviously, are we trying to do this through private donations? And is that starting to get up on its feet? How close are you?
You know, that is a very loaded question. We are working diligently to get everything in order, which is what we've been doing now. We're going to be doing some fundraising here probably at the beginning of the year. So obviously, we would love to have private funding. Applying for grants is something we also are looking at. You know, we're open to discussion on those.
Yeah, it's like
choices.
It's like the you know, the old Santa Claus is coming to town. You know, put one foot in front of the other. That's where we're at right now.
That's where
right?
we are. Yes.
Please don't hold that against me. But
yeah.
But we are. We're organized.
Special, by the way.
We've got a good group of people, and we've met with the city staff. We met with the county staff. They all are very supportive in concept with what we're trying to do.
Outstanding.
And so we've talked about what would be an ideal location to, you know, because of the NIMBY and stuff, what would be an ideal location to build a project like this. And so we're in that stage right now. We're trying to find a place, find some property, reach out to the community, the people in the community that are that's, if somebody has some property they want to donate that's on the outskirts of town, that might be appropriate for us to build some tiny homes or some kind of modular building so that we can get people moved, get that built out and get the system built out. And the city and the county can help us with, some infrastructure, right? You got to have sewer and you got to have all those kind of things. And so that's the stage we're at right now. We just need a location, and then we can start raising the funds to build, and then also go out and look for grant funding and even some public funding.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good luck with that, Jackie. Final thoughts?
I just think that this is something that our community is going to really wrap around, and something that we desperately need. Permanent housing is just very shorthanded.
Absolutely.
And just community.
Yeah.
So
Well, good luck. I think it's a brilliant idea. You got the right man helping you. That's for doggone sure.
we do.
And
We do.
good luck to you both. And keep up the great work that you're doing with Flood Ministries. It's, again, as I say, you're one of those people, Jim. You really are. It
Well,
makes our
thank you.
community that much better. It's really true.
Can I get
As
a
are
quick-
you, Jackie.
Can I
Yes,
get a
sir.
quick plug?
Certainly.
September 25th, Flood is celebrating its 20th anniversary.
Is that right?
Yeah, so you're invited. I'll make sure you get a
Yes.
ticket. if you wanna come.
Absolutely. I would love to
Absolutely.
be
Yeah.
there.
We would love that.
And if you want to know more about this project, you can reach out to Jackie. What's your email, Jackie?
Yes, please.
Hope Community Village
Hope Community Village
.ca
.ca
at gmail.com.
at gmail.com. Hope Community Village at ca.gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Gmail.com. Outstanding. Always good to talk with you. Thanks for coming in. And always
Thank
good to
you
see
so much.
sir.
Thank you, Ralph.
Both keep up the great work. that
Thank
do
you for
us.
having
Thank you.
us.
Quick timeout, bottom of the hour. Avery Zaninovich, and I'm sure a group of Croatia. Are they here yet?
Avery is. I haven't seen anybody else yet.
Is it just her? What? She didn't bring the entire family? What?
Oh, look at me.
I'm shocked.
It's okay, right?
As long as you got the wine, Jim. Jim's going to hang around for a little bit. Just love that. Quick time out. We're coming right back, though. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday right here on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com. Sweet.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we got the latest on our road improvements downtown. We're halfway there. We got more rich people angry about poor people moving in next door. People actually think there's a chance we're going to be a sanctuary city. There's a plus news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. Right here at News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230, KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
You know, it must be nice to be able to retire like Serena Williams and then say, I'm unretired. But for most of us, that's not the case. When we hang it up, that's about it. That's why you've got to be prepared for the late fourth quarter in your lives. And that's why I always stress that the smartest financial move I have ever made happened about 10 years ago when I became a client at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And the other thing I always remind you about, I've turned on colleagues here at American General Media to Daniel, and they could not be happier about what Daniel has done for them financially. Call Daniel Petrie at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in on Thursdays. He appears here every Thursday at 4:30, and his office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Are you craving a mouth-watering sandwich just packed with flavor? Then look no further than Caesar's Deli, where they craft some of the best sandwiches in town. Sink your teeth into our signature classic, Caesar's Special, featuring 2 kinds of salami, premium ham, and the irresistible taste of Nona's secret meat sauce. It's a sandwich experience that you won't forget. That's not the only sandwich they offer. No. Satisfy your cravings with a savory smoked turkey sandwich, or indulge yourself with the loaded pastrami. Or for the adventurous eater, They offer pickled tongue. And here's the best part. Caesar's Deli has incredible lunch specials that are designed to fill you up without emptying your wallet. Plus, did you know that Caesar's Deli has a full-service deli offering a variety of over 60 meats and cheeses? It's a sandwich lover's paradise, and that's why Caesar's Deli has been a local favorite and proudly serving Bakersfield since 1971. Visit Caesar's Deli today and taste the difference for yourself. Located at the corner of Brimhall and Callaway, behind the beautiful water fountain.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more. I just took a COVID test. Ugh. Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit Pfizerforall.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Wrong note to try to pull off. 842-5376, 842-KER. I want to thank Jackie Eskew and our good friend Jim Wheeler. That party is just days before my Philadelphia departure. Taking off official, ticket purchased, hotel reservations made. I'm off to Philly.
Chipstick order?
Say what? Not yet. That's the only thing I have not done. Because I'll wait till, if I'm taking off the 27th, I'll probably send them out on like that Friday. I'm taking off on a Sunday. So what?
No, I'm just like a nightmare scenario, I realize. But what if they don't get him to the place on time?
I worry about that, but that's what makes Shipsticks. I mean, their whole reputation is we'll get them there. I'll probably send them off the week before I leave. Send them that Friday.
That's what I would do just to make sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You send them off a week before, and then you call. You know, like they say they can do it in 72 hours. So they'll send it out on a Friday. I'll call on a Wednesday, Lehigh Country Club in Philadelphia, make sure that they're there. But it's so much easier to deal with. That can you imagine me lugging my clubs around Burbank Airport, and then I have a stop in Denver. So then I have to wait at the carousel because I just I don't check in luggage. I'm gonna be gone for 4 days. So I'm going to bring, 4 pair of shorts. I can shove that in a bag. I'll bring a pair of black slacks and a pair of black Dockers. And that'll be all the pants that I wear while I'm there. And I'll buy 3 or 4 shirts, golf shirts, and 2 dress shirts. This shirt and a black shirt. And that'll get me through the 4 days. 2 shirts, 4 polos, 2 pairs of shorts, pair of socks, 2 pairs of shoes. I'll shove my golf shoes in my bag.
All this for 4 days?
4 days. Yeah.
2?
Huh?
Oh, 2 pairs. 2 pairs. Okay.
2 pairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Four total. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because I'll probably end up doing what I did in St. Louis and probably only play the 1 day. Because I don't want to play. That's one of the reasons I didn't play. I had 2 days to play when I went to St. Louis, but I didn't want to play without Nick. So the first day I get to play with Nick. The second day, I just get thrown into a foursome. And I'm not that excited about that. But just to be in Philly and, to see the King's palatial pad and to hang out with Saquon Barkley and what's the boy from Alabama?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. And
I swear to God, if you are anywhere near these men, you need to send me pictures.
oh, I'm going to take pics. You've never seen my St. Louis pics?
No, I have.
With Ozzie and Jordan Spieth and kicking it with Hale Irwin.
Lightly throw it in there. Just be like, hey, we got a show over here you could be interviewing with. Just saying.
Really? Try to get their numbers?
Might as well.
Hey, I'm still in contact with Paul Stankowski.
We are affiliated with the Raiders. Just saying.
True that. I am so looking forward to this trip. I love Philadelphia. I've been to Philly twice. It's a beautiful, beautiful city, and it's a very metropolitan city. You go down into Philly, and most people are in suits, and it's just I don't know. And they got great strip clubs in Philly. I told you we went into a bar trying to get a drink before we went to the racetrack when we were in Philly. And then all of a sudden they started putting these planks out, and all of a sudden they made it into a strip club. We had no idea. I'm not a big strip club guy, but I did fall in love with a 6-foot black woman, I'll tell you that. Quick time out. Avery Zaninovich from Tullow Wines is next.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The House adopted a Republican-only $95 billion budget proposal, a long-shot effort to fund the Iran war and other White House priorities. Speaker Mike Johnson worked Wednesday to push it over objections from Democrats and some GOP holdouts as a priority before the midterm elections. The measure now goes to the Senate. President Trump honored the lives of 4 U.S. service members who were killed in the Middle East and returned to their families at an Air Force base in Delaware. Mr. Trump saluted Wednesday as 4 transfer cases carrying the service members' remains were escorted off an airplane during the dignified transfer. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 6 points, the Nasdaq dropped 146, the S&P lower by 10. Oil trading near $86 a barrel. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you think?
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
No arrest has been made in a shooting that happened Sunday evening about 7:30 on Crane Street in Bakersfield, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office. They are still looking into what happened and have not given any details in the shooting yet. They say one person died and another person was hurt, but described their condition as stable. The person who died has not been publicly identified. It may have been cheating, says Steve Gordon, the head of the Department of Motor Vehicles. And he also says that some of the cases have been referred for criminal prosecution in the 11,000 letters that went out to people saying they would have to retake their written driver's license tests. People from all over the state got those letters last month and have 30 days to retake their test or lose their license. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
On BritBox, there is a place where stories twist like cobblestone roads, grand manners hide secrets, and stakes are higher than seaside cliffs. Find places worth getting lost in on BritBox. Watch a new series like The Other Bennett Sister from the world of Jane Austen and A Woman of Substance starring Golden Globe winner Brenda Blethyn. If you want to get away, you're in the right place. Stream the best of British TV on BritBox. Free trial at BritBox.com.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230.
Because one of our favorite wine people, the owner, operator, Tolo Wines, Avery Zaninovich is here. She's absent her family because they're bottling right now, but she is live in studio with us. So
Hi.
good to see you. How are you? Say hi to everybody.
So good.
We're on YouTube now.
Oh,
you know.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can go back and watch this later tonight.
Good thing I put makeup on.
You look great. You look great as usual.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. You're just coming back from the
you.
Central Coast Wine Competition.
Yes.
Where y'all dominated.
Oh,
Absolutely dominated.
It's
Tell them what you won.
amazing. Well, our biggest awards are two of our wines received 99 points, which is, I mean, as close to perfection as you can get.
No kidding. And
It's
this is the Syrah.
incredible.
is
We're tasting one of them right now. Yeah.
The Syrah.
So technically it's not released yet, which is always, it's so exciting to receive these awards. And then we're like, well, you know, you got to wait a year or two till you can taste them. But
Really?
we might have to do something where we do a day where we pour them at the tasting room. So
So this isn't even released yet.
No.
When is it getting
Yeah.
released?
in a little bit.
I feel honored.
I know.
One of the few. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. You know, we submit our wines to this competition every year. We've been submitting wines for at least 10 years, and our wines typically do very well, but this is by far the best they've ever done. We've never received 99 points on any wine, and it's incredible. We just feel so honored and grateful. And the wines that won too, you know, we won in a Syrah and a Cab, which on the Central Coast, everyone makes Syrah and Cabernet Sauvignon, and they make them, they're incredible. So we're up against these wonderful, incredible, and huge wine
I was going to say
producers,
big time wine.
well-known
Yeah.
names. And, you know, these wines are tasted blind, and the judges said ours are number one.
Yeah, walk us through how it works.
Pretty
the
cool.
judging.
Yeah, so there's a panel of judges, a couple panels. They taste hundreds of wines. It's done over 2 days, I believe, and they know that they're tasting Syrah, but that's about all that they know. So
Okay.
they bring the staff working it, bring out the glasses. They're numbered, and so the judges taste each wine. They like give it a rating and rank them, and then the panel talks and discusses what they gave, how they ranked them. And if the judges unanimously gave a certain wine a gold medal, it bumps it up to double gold, which 3 of our wines received double gold.
Wow.
So that means the whole panel unanimously thought that was the number one wine
That is incredible.
of the group of wines.
And
they
what were the three?
tasting.
The Syrah, the
So-
Cab, and what
and
was
our
the third one?
Mourvedre, which is a
Really?
grape some people have never heard of
I have
before.
never heard that word in my life.
If you've had a GSM, it's the M in a GSM. So it's typically a blending variety, but it's become huge on the Central Coast. And when it's done well, it's one of my favorite varieties ever.
Okay, explain GSM because I've never heard that phrase
Also
either.
a blend. So it's a Grenache Syrah Mourvedre blend. So a traditional Rhone style blend. It's medium bodied, easy drinking, just something that's really popular when you're out on the Central Coast, especially, but originating in France. So
Wow.
like a Chateauneuf de Pop, it's some of the varieties that get blended into that. And they're 3 varieties that just complement each other and have just been really popular. But yeah.
That is so ridiculously good. Tell the story that most folks know because most people are aware of what you guys have done and how it was a familial thing and the dream of your father and being out in the garage. Tell the whole story.
Yeah, it just started as a passion project. My dad was still farming table grapes in the Delano McFarland area and started making wine just for fun. But he never does anything, small.
Right.
So he went all in, and he decided actually about 2 weeks before harvest was starting that he was going to jump all in and do it. Still a side project, but while I was going to Cal Poly, to graduate, you have to do a senior project. So his wines were delicious. He just wanted to make homemade wines that tasted good, and he surpassed that by far. His wines have always been delicious. And so I did my senior project as a business plan on turning his hobby into a commercial business. And it was a 10-year plan. We've done everything on my plan and more. I never included a tasting room.
Schedule, aren't you?
don't know. I set the bar kind of low because, it was a hobby. It was
Right.
just supposed to be for fun. And also, I just wanted to graduate.
Just want to get a name on my paper.
Yeah, I got an A.
Wasn't trying to create a business. And Papa Jenko, look what we got.
Yeah, but we've done it and more. So I never thought we'd have a tasting room. I never thought, we'd have a successful, amazing tasting room that I love going to every day. We have an incredible staff that has become like family. Even, our staff who have moved on and gotten full-time jobs, and we still stay in touch, and we love them so much. And it's just been more than we'd ever hoped it could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell the 5 people who just moved in here where you're located and some of the things. Tell them about. Are you still doing trivia?
Yes.
Every now and again?
Yeah, we need
That
to
is
get
my
you back
favorite.
hosting.
You do. You absolutely do.
Love
I
it.
love
Favorite
that.
celebrity host. So yeah, we're located at 1212 18th Street. So downtown Bakersfield, right across from Billy's and Sequoia Sandwich. We're open Wednesday through Saturday from 2 to 8. You do not need a reservation. You just come on in. You can do tasting, or you can just grab a bottle. We do live music every Friday and Saturday. We want it to be a place where everyone feels comfortable. You don't have to know a single thing about wine, or you can be the biggest wine enthusiast that there is, and everything in between. And we love it all.
See,
So,
that's why I love you and Gino Valpredo
Yeah.
and Lynette Valpredo, because you are the only people that have always told me it's just what you like, Ralph.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons I always shied away from wine is because a lot of the people that I knew that drank wine were a bunch of wine snobs. And they're just, you've got to circle it, and you've got the aroma, Ralph, and you got to stand, and you got to get it and get this. And you and Lynette and Gino just say, hey, it's what you like. If you like $2 Chuck, then drink $2 Chuck.
Exactly.
But you guys have some of the best wine, obviously, and it's been just absolutely been verified. I mean,
Thank
that's just
you.
incredible.
See, that's the coolest thing is we've always made wine that we enjoy drinking, and we just hope a few other people want to drink it with us. And so,
And now you
to
got a
have-
business.
yeah.
Now you got a successful
And then
business.
to have these professionals blindly taste our wines among the best wines made in the area, and we're right up there with them,
Yeah.
and surpassing them is just really, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
It is. It really is. Anything new coming in the horizon for Tullow Wines?
We are releasing 4 new wines, five new wines, August 19th. So you can come in anytime. You don't have to be, part of our club or anything like that. You can come try the new wines, and it's going to be really, really fun. We always love to do
Yeah.
our releases that initially go out to our wine club members, but we pour them in the tasting room as soon as they're available.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Talk about the club. We're talking with Avery Zaninovich, Tullow Wines, located downtown. Tell them about the club and how they can get involved.
Yeah, our wine club is pretty amazing. We try and give our members the best perks that we can because we want to see everyone's
Yeah.
faces often. So we love our regulars, we love our members. So you actually get 25% off of your entire purchase if you're a member,
Nice.
which is pretty outstanding. So we do releases 3 times a year. Our members are the first to receive those new wines, and it's a totally customizable club, which is cool. We allow you to completely switch up the box. You can handpick whichever wines you want to be drinking. We want you to enjoy what's in your box and what you're paying for. And so we allow you to make any change you want. And we do a lot of fun things. We do our anniversary dinner in November at the tasting room, which goes out to members first, and normally members sell it out. So it's a fun deal.
Yeah. How often do you do trivia night?
Once a month.
Once a month.
So we're taking a little break until September, but all of the trivia dates are listed up on our reservation page. So you can get to that from our website or through our social media. If you click the link in the bio and make a reservation, it'll list all the dates
Yeah.
for trivia.
Any other special nights they should know about?
We have so many events. We
Yeah, I know.
have actually tonight we have a paint night. We have Say
Paint night?
Studios. Yeah. Say Studios comes in once a month and she paints one of our bottles and then she teaches a class. And people get to socialize and paint and have a little creative outlet, and that's so much fun. And the theme's always different every month. So you can find that on our social media and also Say Studios. It's SEY Studios. And then every other month, we have the Playful Space come in and another fun creative outlet. This year, she's been doing Pinot and paper. So you don't have to drink Pinot, but it just was a fun alliteration. And you can grab a glass of wine, bring some friends, and you just kind of get to paint. And she'll be there to help you along the way if you need some inspiration. And she's amazing. But it's just a fun night to just sit and enjoy, company of your friends and others and make new friends and then, drink wine and paint.
Avery Zaninovich is our guest from Tolo Wines. I'll leave you with this. I know beyond wine, the thing that you're most proud of is your Croatian background.
Oh, yeah.
So I know the World Cup must have just been absolute
I don't want to talk about
it. Well, for a while, you must have had a ball.
Oh, it was so fun. And we held watch parties at the
That's
tasting
what
room
I saw
too.
that. I
And
saw that.
I mean, my family and friends showed up. It was so much fun. They played so well. I'm so proud of them. And
Yeah.
I mean, Luka Modric is one of the best. So he's my cousin. So,
Is he really?
No, but,
Oh,
I'm going to try and claim that. People believe me.
That is so funny. Can you imagine? It's so amazing that when I find people that get into businesses that they never dreamed that they would be involved with, and they're able to turn it into something like you have been able to turn in this wine shop.
And I mean, like you said, normally I have my whole crew here with me and they're all busy. We're bottling today and tomorrow. So we're stuck at the winery, but it's always fun. Bottling day is always so much fun.
Well, say hi to your mom and dad.
I will.
I love both of them. They're
Aw.
two of my favorite people, as
Me
are
too.
you.
Yeah.
And it's just great to have you back in studio. You're going to
Thank
see
you.
me start to move away from vodka and start to move towards wine.
Yeah.
So you're going to see me more often.
It's
You really
healthy.
are. Yeah.
It's good for you.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. That's exactly where I'm going that
Yeah.
route. You're going to see me a lot more. I promise you.
Thank you for having me.
Avery Zaninovich, everybody. Tolo Wines. Get down there. They're located right downtown by Sequoia and Bill Lee's. You can't miss it. Quick time out. Still lots to do on the broadcast. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. I'll even go to the chat room, see what they're saying. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
If you've got kids right now, what happens every summer? Well, there's no summer jobs available. And so you end up having to spend a lot of money putting your kids into something that is going to keep them active. You can't do what we did when I was growing up. It just doesn't happen anymore. And that's been the death of summer jobs and really changed society in a very negative way.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Look, folks, you already know that your garage door is a very important part of your home, from the overall look of the place to the safety and security it provides. So obviously, you should only trust the service, repair, and maintenance of your garage door to the pros at King Door Company. Their skill and product knowledge are unmatched in the industry, and that's no accident. The techs at King Door are rigorously trained at the King Door Academy. That's right, King Door has an in-house training facility to make sure your job is done right on the first try. They're trained in all the latest equipment, tools, and techniques. They even learn how to listen to customer concerns through role-playing exercises. And you'll see how well all this training works when they show up right on time in fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and equipment to service or repair any garage door. Like I said, your garage door is a very important part of your home, so leave it to the pros at King Door Company. Schedule your appointment today at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
The IRS
finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me, they calm me down, they make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Look, folks, when it comes to IT support, not all companies are the same. Many make big promises, but very few have the depth of talent, advanced systems, and proven solutions that Grapevine MSP brings to the table. At Grapevine MSP, they don't just fix problems, they prevent them. Their fully managed IT services keep your systems running smoothly and securely 24/7. So when something happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to be stuck trying to reach your provider. Grapevine MSP's local team is already on it with advanced network monitoring. They generally catch the issue before you even notice, and they're calling you to say that it's already been handled. Their dedicated cybersecurity team protects you daily from evolving threats, while their industry-leading backup and disaster recovery keep your business online even in a crisis. All this for one simple, transparent monthly rate. Call 661-377-2992 or visit grapevinemsp.com to schedule your free network evaluation today. Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hi, everybody. No, I'm kidding. I'm
About 9?
huh?
About 9?
I feel pretty good right about now. I had a very small. What did I have for breakfast this morning? What did I have for breakfast? I had half a ham sandwich, so I'm fine. Nothing wrong with me. No, a couple of glasses of wine. Do that, but one of my favorite people, one of my favorite families. They have been another family that's been always been kind to me. Their dad and their mom are just outstanding, and Avery is. You can tell. You guys, you should really watch this show on YouTube, particularly when we have guests, because you don't get a sense of their personality over the radio. But if you watch, you get a sense of just how jubilant she is, just how happy in life she is, and her whole family is like that. And that's the whole vibe at Tullow Wines when you go in there. It's just very laid back. And again, it's another one of those establishments that I talked about when I was talking about Eurekaio's and Valpredo's and Luigi's and Casey Steakhouse, where they've created a familial situation where the employees, bust their hump for the Zaninoviches, and they've created a family with these people. She was alluding to the fact, they have former employees that have to move on, obviously, as they get older and want to make more money, but they're still loyal to Tullow Wines and still come back and still stay in contact with the family. And for them to go up, this thing's ranged from Monterey to Santa Barbara. I mean, they were going up against some of the biggest wine companies in California, which essentially means for certain wines, some of the biggest wineries on the planet, literally. For Syrahs, I mean, isn't California, aren't we best known for our Syrahs and our cabs, particularly that area, Santa Barbara and the Monterey area? And for a little wine shop in Bakersfield to go up to the Central Valley and dominate, not just win, but dominate a random drawing where they have no idea what they're drinking, and 3 different Tullow wines get a 99. Are you kidding me? That's a dynasty. That's complete domination. And if you have not been down there, you're doing yourself a disservice. You really should go down there. And when she said celebrity host, what they do is every now and again they'll have someone come in, like a radio talk show host, and they ask you to form the questions,
And it's a great trivia thing that they do where you get points for how much wine you drink, which is so brilliant. And I think I've done it twice. And you come up with like 4 or 5 different categories, and you have different questions, and you probably could pick out my topics. I go with like current events in Bakersfield, presidential trivia, TV of the 70s and the 80s. And I love it. I absolutely love it. You guys know me in trivia. And it's just a joyful place to be. And like I said, like I was telling her, I'm trying to move off vodka and trying to drink more wine. It's a little more healthy for me. And probably better for my gout as well. So I'm going to be down there quite a bit. I really a great family. They really are. We are blessed. Like I said, horrible town. Horrible town. The weather sucks. The air sucks. The health care is tip top because we're so unhealthy because we're all fat and got diabetes and high blood pressure. And we die of heart attacks more than just about any place in California. And it's laid out improperly. Our government is horrendous. Our municipal government is a joke. They don't look forward. It's all about putting Band-Aids on gunshot wounds. But you all, the community itself, the people, the Zaninoviches, the Biddles, the Casey Steakhouse, the Valprados, just the families and the people, the Jim Wheelers and the Jackie Eskews, the people that make this community just one of the most giving and loving communities I've ever been a part of. And as I've talked about, when I came up here to go to school to finally complete my education after not doing so at Morehouse College. And I thought I'd be here for 2 years and I'd run to LA and work for the LA Times. And I got offered a job at the Californian. So I said, okay, well, I'll get some clips and then I'll run to LA. And then got offered a job in TV. And then by that time, I was ensconced. I was in love with a woman I thought I was going to marry and couldn't accept jobs out of town because she had kids in high school. And so I was settled. And at that point, right around the turn of the century after my father died, I was convinced that I was going to stay here because I go back to Los Angeles and it's like a different world. I just can't deal with the LA people, the constant picture taking and the selfies and just the let's go place because this is where everybody is seen. And let's go to this restaurant because there's paparazzi outside. Like they're going to take our picture. It's just a different mindset. It's all based on Hollywood. It's all about celebrity. It's all about being seen. And this community is just much more giving and much more thoughtful, I think. And just we are our brother's keeper in this town. And it's fun to live in a community like that, even when it's 104 degrees, even when our municipal government lets us down and does things we disagree with, even when our top cop makes plea deals with pimps and killers and things of that nature. It's still a great place to live because the people are just absolutely phenomenal. They really, truly are. 842-5376, 842-KER, and we got a couple of minutes before we get into the 5 o'clock hour. What do you got, Mr. Burdick?
With all due respect, Ralph, I believe the conclusions you are drawing about this war are just based on your fears. No one can predict how this one will shake out.
That is one of the most intelligent text messages we have ever received. You're absolutely right. It is completely based on my fears. My fears that this becomes a full-scale war, that Trump's ego or pride or whatever forces him to say enough is enough, we're going in. That is my fear. You're absolutely right. It's not based on logic. It's not based on some classified document that I received in the mail. It's not based on any knowledge that I have beyond yours or any of the other listeners. You're absolutely right. Like I said, that's one of the most brilliant text messages we've ever received. It is based on total fear. I am scared to death that this thing is going to become a full-scale, boots on the ground effort. And I think it starts with Carg Island or now perhaps Pickaxe Mountain, where they believe the uranium is there. I just don't see another way to victory other than boots on the ground. And again, I hate to keep quoting the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, but air war is limited. There are only certain things you can do. Hitler and the Blitzkrieg couldn't bring Churchill to his knees with daily bombardments. And that was World War II. So history has told us that airfare just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. And thank God the Nazis never, ever got to goose step into London. They did into Paris, and they occupied France, but they were never able to take over Great Britain. What else you got?
The chicken piccata ravioli Alfredo combo.
Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. See, it's Eureka's. So anything you guys say, because everything on the menu. I mean, I literally took a date. I took Carla, I dated her for on and off for like 3 or 4 years, and that was our first date. And I said, I'll be honest with you, Carla. You could go like this, like a dart, and land on something and order it, and it would be fabulous. And she was like, ooh, that makes me really excited. And I said, yeah, everything on the menu is incredible. The debtor. The debtor had her father's birthday. You know who the debtor is? That's what we're going to call her from now on. The debtor.
Debtor.
The
Okay.
debtor.
That's a good name.
Yeah, isn't that a good name?
That's a good name.
The debtor had her dad's birthday party there. And we had it in the back room. This was probably 20 years ago. And I remember that night, it was the first time, because I don't like to order like regular stuff at really nice restaurants. But that was the first time I'd had their lasagna, because I wouldn't go to Eureka's and order lasagna. It's too basic. Well, I had it that night. It was it was a party, so you had 2 choices. And I ordered lasagna. It was like the best lasagna I ever had in my life. It really, really was. Just everything on that menu. It is a sad day. If you're just joining us, Eureka's is closed. 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 Quick time out, final hour of the broadcast. I'd stick around if I you.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump visited Georgia on Wednesday afternoon to promote his new Trump Accounts child investment program and campaign for Republican candidates in the Peach State. The president says Trump Accounts can set up kids for future financial success.
Their parents, grandparents, employers, and loved ones can contribute up to $5,000 a year. And with the modest contribution, these accounts will reach hundreds of thousands of dollars for these young people by the time they get to, let's say 18, let's say 21. But by the time they're just young adults, they could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, most likely will be.
The president also railed against Democratic Senator John Ossoff and accused Democrats of being communists. Tropical storm Bertha has made landfall in Louisiana on Wednesday afternoon. Robbie Berg, warning coordination meteorologist with the National Hurricane Center, says storm surge will be an issue with Bertha.
We are still expecting some areas, especially in Louisiana and Mississippi, to see upwards of 2 to 4 feet of storm surge, especially where those winds are blowing onshore. So we do need residents just to be aware of that hazard as well.
Winds have been clocked at 50 miles an hour. The president has made a deal with Saudi Arabia.
Various news agencies, including CBS News and the Wall Street Journal, reporting the United States and Saudi Arabia have reached an agreement for U.S. companies to run nuclear power for the Saudis in their country. The energy would support things like AI data centers.
That's correspondent Laura Winters reporting. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average down by 6 points, the Nasdaq dropping 146, the S&P 500 lower by 10, oil trading near $86 a barrel. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at 2 different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
Oil prices rise as a result of more fighting in
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
The Highway Patrol believes that a woman that led them on a chase Tuesday may have been drunk. I'm Chris Davis. It wasn't a chase at first. The Highway Patrol tried to pull a car over that had been swerving near Grapevine Road about 11 a.m. But they say that car did not stop, and the woman who was driving hit the gas, leading them on a chase, which was not high speed, but was somewhat dangerous, with her hitting a guardrail at one point. She was finally stopped near Taft Highway with spike strips and initially refused to get out of the car. Officers say the woman eventually surrendered and was charged with suspicion of DUI. And a wreck that happened on Highway 99 near California Avenue Monday afternoon may have also been caused by impaired driving, says the Highway Patrol. They arrested the driver of a Dodge pickup, which was pulling a trailer that hit a semi on the shoulder of the highway and then got stuck. CHP says the passenger of the Dodge pickup truck was hurt and was sent to the hospital while the driver was being pulled out and cuffed. If you were one of the 11,000 people who got a letter saying that you have to retake the written test for your driver's license, you may have some cause for concern. Steve Gordon, the director of the Department of Motor Vehicles, says that some of the irregularities that have them making people retake the test could have been cheating related. He says some of the cases have already been referred for prosecution. If you got one of those letters, you have 30 days to retake the test or you could lose your license. The California Department of Healthcare Services says they believe the Trump administration is targeting California's in-home healthcare system, which helps children and people with disabilities, and withholding $867 million in Medicaid reimbursement. That announcement was Tuesday about both California and Minnesota. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Wednesday, Hump Day, 22nd day of July. And this is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at KERNradio.com. You know, I could be a wealthy man and I don't even know it. I bought this a couple of days ago.
No.
And I don't even know how I did.
How you did?
No. So this was Friday, July 17th. Can you check the numbers? Let's do this real quick. Because if I've got 4 or 5 numbers, you might have to finish the show.
July 20th, correct?
Well, I bought it on the 17th, so I think it was for the 17th.
For the 17th?
Well, I think so. I bought it the day of, right? Remember I told you I was going to buy one? Was there a drawing?
Friday?
Was there a drawing on the 17th?
There's a drawing on the Monday, the 20th. This is for Powerball, correct?
No, this is Mega Millions.
Mega Millions.
Yeah, Mega Millions. $5 a shot. I didn't know it was that expensive. Has it always been that expensive? Or did they raise the freight?
To be honest with you, I don't do the lottery that much. I should.
I don't either. No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. You have a better chance of being eaten by a shark.
I feel that, but
at Lake Truxton.
At the same time, there's been a couple people who have hit around here, and granted, that doesn't help. But
one of the best live shots I did was an 11 o'clock live shot for the family back in the 90s that won like $200 million here in the Northeast. We got a clue who the family was.
I went out there at about 10 o'clock, created a relationship with them because obviously they were berserk. Like they must have had, when I first got there at about 9:30, 10 o'clock, there were probably about a dozen people. By the time I did my live shot, they had 50 or 60 family members in their home, and they had won $200 million. And you know who the most famous lottery winner is, don't you? At least Kern County famous. Single most famous lottery winner in Kern County history.
Former speaker.
Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
Got his sandwich career started. He won like $5,000 on the lottery and invested in a sandwich shop in the Northeast that failed. And as Kevin tells a great story, this is what catapulted him into politics. I don't remember the story that well because Mr. McCarthy and I haven't spoken in years, but once he became the hypocrite that he became, I kind of, spoke about him ill, and he has held a grudge ever since, which is fine because I just recently saw his wife at Mexicali and suggested that we try to mend fences, and there's been nothing of that, and that's fine. I'm a damn about Kevin McCarthy, to be honest with you. We were good friends at one point when we ran around with his detail. He was great to me when he was up in Sacramento and they did the Capitol Clear Speak. It was very, very good to me. He truly was. And I guess, you can't speak ill of Kevin McCarthy. You get blacklisted. But he tells the story that he was having a parking situation problem in front of his sandwich shop. And he was fighting the city or the county over this. And that's what got him involved in politics, where he figured I have to go down this rabbit hole and try to figure out how to get this thing for my sandwich shop. And he just felt so frustrated that he wanted to be part of the solution than rather the problem. And he ran for assembly. Well, he was Mr. Thomas's aide. He was Vince Vaughn. What Vince Vaughn was to Kevin McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy was to Bill Thomas, and they all followed in succession. Kevin obviously became an assemblyman and was part of the Big Five when Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of the state. And that was a heyday for us because we had, Kevin was a very powerful assemblyman. And I think he may have had a hand in creating this thing they called Capitol Clear Speak. It was a brilliant idea. Why they haven't gone back to it, I just don't know. But what they would do is they would set up a tent outside of the Capitol. And the Capitol is located right across the street from, I believe it's a Marriott. It's where Arnold Schwarzenegger lived, literally, while he was up there. He wasn't going to leave his Brentwood home. That's why I keep telling these guys, LeBron ain't leaving Brentwood. Brentwood is such a beautiful community. You don't leave Brentwood. You get a Brentwood house, you ain't leaving Brentwood. LeBron ain't leaving Brentwood. He's just not. I'm just telling you. And Schwarzenegger wasn't leaving Brentwood, and neither was his wife at the time, the young Kennedy. Who was his wife? Shriver's daughter. Jesus Christ, Ralph. Bailey. That's how old I'm getting, where I can't even come up with Kennedy names. Who was his wife? Starts with an A. Arnold's former wife. Please stand by. People are screaming at the radio.
That would be
Starts
Maria
with
Shriver.
Maria. Starts with an A.
That's what I was looking for. I was like, I don't see one that starts with A, but
Wow. It's either I start the Alzheimer's medication or I stop smoking weed, one of the two. But they would set up this tent and they would invite all the conservative radio talk shows literally from across the state, from San Diego to Eureka or whatever the hell the coast is. Everybody, it would be hundreds of radio talk shows, and it all depended on your shift. And we'd all set up our situation in the tent, and the Republican Party would send legislators through. And then it was like a 3-day thing. You'd go up there on a Monday, and the governor would host you in his office in a sea of sushi. It was just incredible. And Arnold would come in and shake everybody's hands right in his office. And he had a little section where he would smoke. We would go out and smoke cigars. And then your legislator, which in this case was Kevin McCarthy, would take the local talk show hosts from his community out to dinner. Kevin would always take us to Morton's. I used to tell that story about how I don't. I eat a lot, but I don't eat a lot in one sitting. Like the girls at Casey Steakhouse will tell you, 80% of the time, I will take half my dinner home. I'll have like soup, and then I'll eat half my dinner, and I'll take half of it home. And so I took my filet home from Morton's when we were up in Sacramento, and I get into the hotel, and obviously I have no silverware. I didn't order room service, and they don't have silverware just in your hotel. And I just remember it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I was eating a filet like an apple. I was like sitting there, ow, ow, ow. And it was just a great time. And then you go back to the tent, you do your show for the 2 days. And then on the final day, the governor would come through and do everybody's show. And I've got some great pictures. Unfortunately, it was pre-telephone time, but we have some great still pictures of me and my Ben producer, Nick Novak, with the governor. I was a fat tub. That's why I don't really post them on Facebook. I was a fat tub back then. And then the best night was I was sitting with Inga Barks. And I don't think Scott ever came up to the event. I really don't remember Scott being there. He might have. But Inga would come up every year. And Inga and I, the late Inga, rest in peace, we didn't really get along that well. And she was sitting at my table. And ask Bailey. He grew up rich. And you know what I said? You damn right I did. Ralph Bailey was chief of staff of anesthesia at Daniel Freeman Hospital, worked his ass off. And you're right, I did grow up rich. It was really nice, Inga. Sorry. What, South High School? Yeah, the Brentwood School, where I graduated. Yeah, I can be kind of a prick when I want to be. But I was like, ask Bailey he was rich. So I had to turn it on her. Yeah, you're right. You don't see the silver spoon hanging out my mouth? You don't see that? Yeah, I'm sorry. She's dead if she don't see it. Anyway, it was a great event, and why they don't do it anymore, I just don't understand. But the greatest moment was I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of sitting like 2 or 3 people from Inga, and one of Arnold's aides taps me on the shoulder and says loud enough for everybody to hear at the table, "The governor would like you to join him for cigars after dinner." I was like, "Oh, very good." And that's how good Kevin was to me. He really was good to me. It's sad that our friendship had to end on such a note, but you got to tell the truth. You got to tell the truth, and when you suck up to a president, that's fine. I understand that, but when you call for the 25th Amendment to remove him, and then later come back and say what a wonderful human being he is, kind of says a lot about you. And I'm not here I don't even know why I started getting there, Kevin McCarthy. Have we figured out if I'm rich or not? Am I leaving? What's the story? What do you got?
I got the numbers there.
All right, what do you got? What do you got?
So the numbers for the 17th were
Yes.
22,
I got 22.
34,
I got 34.
45,
I don't have 45.
48,
I got 48.
55,
Shut up.
and 14 is the Powerball number.
You are lying.
The Mega Ball number. I swear to God, that's all I got here.
I have 4 of those numbers. I mean, amongst the 2 tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
But not on one ticket. I do have all 4. If I could cash in both my tickets.
Oh, well.
You know what I mean? So in other words, among my 10 numbers for the 2 tickets that I bought,
yeah,
I've got 4 of the numbers, but they're not. Damn. I know they're not. I've got, what do you say, 14, 34, 55?
22.
I got 22. 34.
45.
Got 4. No, I don't have 45.
48.
I got 48.
55.
I got 55.
And the Mega Ball number was 14.
My Mega Ball was 15 and 1.
Damn.
So yeah, I win nothing. I might take a shot tonight.
You're that close? I would.
I wasn't really that close, Chris.
All right.
I mean,
Still
really,
got 2.
on one ticket, or just one ticket.
Exactly.
I had 2 numbers.
Yeah.
I had 2 numbers on each ticket.
2 more than I had.
I don't know why I do this. Like father, like son. Like I said, my dad was one of the most normal, decent men. Bailey from 3 left it short, just like my putts. He just had 2 weird things about him, my pop. Loved wrestling. I don't mean Greco. I don't mean Olympics. I mean Sammy the Sheik.
He was a man of culture, is what you're saying.
You'd think a scientist, but he would sit with my oldest nephew, Christopher, and they both knew all the names of these guys. And I would walk in.
Love wrestling.
And that kind of wrestling?
Oh, heck yeah. I wear shirts all the time.
Oh, and they'd be like, "Hey, Chris, that's the Sheik." And I'd be like, "Pop, you really know these guys?" "That's right. That's the Sheik going up against Michael the Mongoose." And I'd be like, "What have you done with my father? Since you become a grandfather, you are a different human being."
Hear me out on this. This is what I was saying with you. Everybody's got a version of trash TV that they love.
True that.
And I love wrestling to death, but that is trash television.
He did. He loved it. And he and Chris would sit in his lap. Chris was about 12, 13, and they would sit and just watch this thing for hours. He would tape it. That's how long ago. It was the 90s. He would tape it because he couldn't, he was a workaholic. And he always bought lottery tickets on Tuesdays. Always came in the house talking about, we're leaving tonight. As soon as they read these numbers, we're getting on the plane. And we would always be like, "Pop, you ain't going, I would mess with him. You know where you're going, Pop? You're going to El Segundo. That's where you're going." "Okay, you ain't going with me. Sorry." And I had one, my sister Patrice would always suck up to him. "I'll go with you, Daddy." Patrice is the only one going with me. She's the only one going with me, the only one believes. But let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back to check the board and recap our top story. It's a sad story. I don't know if you're just joining us or not. But the classic Italian restaurant, Uricchio's Trattoria, is closed. There are rumors, because I think this is the official release, that it's a summer closure and that they'll be reopening. I have it on great sources. That's simply not true. That may be what they're saying right now, so as not to, I don't know, but I have it on pretty, as you guys know, I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't know it for a fact. I just don't do that. I'm a former journalist, and I take my responsibilities incredibly seriously, and I would never, ever, 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 ever say something like that if I didn't know and have it cold. Those doors will never open again, unfortunately, and we are saddened by it, and we are a worse community for it. The Uricchio family is one of the best families that have come to this community. Claire and Mark, her husband, her children, Brian, just a wonderful, wonderful family that has always gone out of their way to be kind. You know that I used to talk about this. I get my hair cut, and I need a haircut right now, as a matter of fact, right around the corner from Uricchio's. And whenever I would go down there to Gooby's shop, I'd make sure I'd go in and get something to go. And Claire would always buy me a cocktail or throw in some bruschetta, or just a wonderful, wonderful woman. And don't feel sorry for her. If you run into her, I would applaud her and thank her for her 31 years of committing to this community. Just a beautiful, beautiful family. And it's just a really, really sad day. And I contemplated waiting and allowing her to say it on her own terms, because I know she didn't want it released right now. But unfortunately, this is the profession that I have chosen, and it is what I have to do at times. It's not pleasant, and she may not even be happy with me releasing this early, but it is what it is. But I am forever grateful for her family, the kindness that she and her husband Mark and her brother Stephen and Papa Nick while he was alive. Just an incredible family. We're all walking around with heavy hearts today with this news. Quick time out. We'll read the board a little bit, get to the bottom of the hour. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday, right here on Newstalk 96.1, AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we got the latest on our road improvements downtown. We're halfway there. We got more rich people angry about poor people moving in next door. People actually think there's a chance we're going to be a sanctuary city. Thursday, plus news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
No arsonist can stop the Valpredo family and the family at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen. And when I say the family, I mean the waitresses and the busboys and the cooks that make up that entire family that Gino has put together over there. And you know what I always say, I personally would start in the delicatessen. Start looking at some of the merchandise for gifts for this Christmas or graduation, whatever, and say hello to Lynette. She's a great sommelier. She'll probably try to turn you on to some great Italian wines. Then head into the bar, have a cocktail with Julie as you're waiting to be seated, either outside on the patio where Gino's got misters, calming it down on a day like today, or maybe inside or at the Bailey Bar, perhaps. Where would you rather be? And of course, the warehouse, as I've talked about, I bet 95% of y'all have been at least to one event in that warehouse, which has been a game changer. It's got its independent bar and just spacious area for memorials or birthdays or anniversaries, whatever. It's Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Most of us are one good deal away from finally replacing that worn out rug, fixing up the backyard, or getting the bedroom we actually want. Good news, that deal's almost here. Wayfair's Black Friday and July sale. Get up to 80% off area rugs and up to 60% off outdoor and bedroom furniture. Shop Wayfair's huge selection of styles and find the piece to fit your style, budget, and space. Plus, free shipping. Black Friday in July ends July 27th. Shop today at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Looking to refresh your home or business with a clean, professional new look? Trust the experienced team at Howling Painting. Family owned and operated in Kern County since 1978, Howling Painting has built a reputation for quality workmanship, dependable service, and attention to detail. From residential to commercial projects, interior or exterior painting, their team is committed to delivering beautiful results at competitive prices. Named Best of Bakersfield's Best Painting Company in both 2025 and 2026, Howling Painting takes pride in making sure every customer is completely satisfied before the job is done. And with a fully licensed and insured team, you can feel confident knowing your property is in trusted hands. Call Howling Painting today at 872-0988 at 872-0988 or visit howlingpainting.com to schedule your free, no obligation consultation. Howling Painting, quality you can see, service you can trust.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So some polls have come out, gubernatorial polls, presidential polls. You don't want to talk about the gubernatorial polls. We really don't. Steve Hilton is being slaughtered. He's down by like 25 points to a Latino in California. Pretty hard to make up. And it's sad. It really is. Because it's all about party. Javier Becerra is an incompetent boob who we played audio of members of the Biden administration highlighting the fact that when he was part of the Biden cabinet, not only did Xochitl Hinojosa, who was part of the Biden administration, say he was incompetent, but she added, and I'm not going to play the audio again for you, have Chris mull through that and try to find it, but she said not only was he incompetent, this was the great sentence that solidified it for me. You could ask any member of the cabinet. That is about as disparaging as it gets. That's like saying you can ask any member of American General Media, Ralph Bailey is a POS. You can ask Burdick, you can ask Randy, you can ask Lisa, You can ask our HR person. They all agree Bailey is a POS. That's basically what she said. You can ask any cabinet member, Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, the Interior Secretary. They all thought he was incompetent. And for her to say that out loud on CNN is so incredibly telling. He was a horrible AG who was appointed here in California. He's never been a leader. You've seen the video. I hope most of you have seen the video where he's starting an interview and he says, no difficult questions. And the journalist says something like, I beg your pardon? And she said, well, this is just a profile, right? And she says something to the effect, well, I don't know what your ideal of a profile is, but, well, he says, just not difficult questions. That's what a booby is. Like, hey, who would ever say that to a reporter? Like, if it's me, I'm like, bring it on. Let's deal with the difficult stuff, and then we can get to the featurey stuff later. But give me some of your toughest curveballs right off the bat. Let's just get through this. But not this boob. And this guy is going to be our governor. I guarantee you, and I hope I'm alive in 4 years, but I guarantee you this guy is a one-term president. Even if it's another Democrat that succeeds him, this guy is going to be one of the worst. Coming off Gavin Newsom, that's saying something. This guy is going to be worse than Gray Davis. This guy will go down as one of the single worst governors in the history of this state. When we come back, I'll tell you some of the numbers for 2028. If you weren't with us at the top of the show, you're going to be shocked at the numbers that are coming out between Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom for the 2028 nomination for the Democratic Party. That's coming up. We'll check the board some more. I'll even read what some of the folks in the chat room are saying. Back half of the hour, it's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at KernRadio.com.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Torrential rains in West Virginia have caused flash flooding that inundated homes and businesses. Authorities say the floods washed out bridges and led to numerous water rescues in portions of the state. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey said Wednesday some people are unaccounted for, but he didn't specify whether any deaths occurred. Forecasters said up to 7 inches of rain fell in some places. President Trump honored the lives of 4 U.S. service members who were killed in the Middle East and returned to their families at an Air Force base in Delaware. Trump saluted Wednesday as 4 transfer cases carrying the service members' remains were escorted off an airplane during the dignified transfer. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 6 points, the Nasdaq dropped 146. More details at srnnews.com.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance, just a few dollars a day.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. A woman who refused to stop for the highway patrol Tuesday morning about 11 near Grapevine Road may have been driving drunk, says CHP. The woman, who is from Rialto, was charged with suspicion of DUI when she was finally stopped when CHP put spike strips out near Taft Highway. They say she initially refused to get out of the car, but finally surrendered. And the driver of a Dodge pickup who wrecked Monday afternoon on the side of Highway 99 near California Avenue by hitting a semi that was parked there may have also been driving impaired, says CHP. They say he faces the same charge and that his passenger was hurt and had to go to the hospital when the truck collided with the semi and ended up getting stuck there. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. For the Central Valley, that means local service including burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and custom security designed to work with business operations. Bay Alarm has real people rooted in your community looking out for your business. After 8 decades and 3 generations of family ownership, our promise is still the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Is the volatility of the stock market driving you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older and you're starting to worry about, will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into gold and silver. Want to know how to do it? Listen to my show, Striking Gold, with me, Kenny Michaels.
Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
A educational conversation between J.D. Vance and Bill Maher. This is the opportunity. This is the door that's been opened. You got 13 members now of the Democrat Party that's saying, hey, we like capitalism. And this is the opportunity for other Democrats that agree with Bill Maher that let's take our party back and let's get off this road to socialism.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
To be 80, and he died at 56. And it's one of my great regrets that my family lived here and I didn't see them as often as I should have. I went over there quite a bit. I was dating somebody very seriously at the time, and we would go and have dinner with my parents. But my dad was a workaholic, and as I've talked about that, my parents very rarely saw me play sports. My mother never. I think my mother and Mrs. Sewsbury came to one of my basketball games at Buckley, but I was going to Brentwood, and I had one of the best games of my career. I was going back to the school that I had left. Buckley had a basketball tournament, and I had it on my schedule. You know, it's like going back, it's like getting traded and going back to the team that you were traded from. And I wasn't kicked out of Buckley. I left with John Tempero for fear that we couldn't get into college because of the whole teachers issue. They had summarily fired 8 teachers at Buckley who were trying to start a union. I literally fired them overnight. And our campus became the center of Valley News, where we had satellite trucks. I didn't know what a satellite truck was at that time, but we had satellite trucks parked because it was a private school. So it was at the end of Stansbury Boulevard on Sherman Oaks off of Ventura Boulevard. And it was a cul-de-sac that ended where the school was located. So the school was located in a canyon. It was a beautiful campus. So you couldn't get on to the campus without coming through the front gates. There was no back entrance. And the Harvard kids figured out if you came through the canyons, because they would drive up, what they would do, the Harvard kids, it is kind of funny. So it's located in a canyon in Sherman Oaks. And what the Harvard kids would do when they would play us, they would drive up along the canyon, up higher above the canyon, and get like a crate of oranges and just pummel our football field with oranges, like on a Friday. So for the Saturday game, we'd have to get out there and clean up the oranges where these kids were. But there was only one entrance. And so along Stansbury Boulevard, there was just piles of live trucks and satellite trucks. And it was the story of LA that this iconic private school had just summarily fired 8 of the most popular teachers because they wanted to try to start a union. Isabel Buckley is the founder. She was still alive when I was attending there until my 10th grade year. She wrote a fabulous educational book called College Begins at 2, because they started, I've told you, one of my best friends in high school, Ed Skelly, it's the only school he ever went to. Ed Skelly's attended 3 schools his whole life: the Buckley School, CU, Colorado, in Boulder, and his law school. It's the only school he's ever been to his whole life. He went from age 2 to 18 at Buckley, and it's where I met Gary and Barbara Fowler. Many of you know Gary Fowler. He came up here long before I did. He left Los Angeles, and he and his wife Barbara. I met his wife Barbara first on the administrative side. She was one of the administrators on the elementary level. I got catapulted into Buckley halfway through my 6th grade year, and as I've always talked about, it was really, I'm really kind of proud of myself as a little kid, because I literally went from Joe A. Gonzalez Elementary School in Cerritos, California, to halfway through my 6th grade year, I'm literally sitting next to Michael Landon's daughter, and Clark Gable's kid is in the back, and Quinn Martin's son sits next to me. I hated him. He's a good athlete. He wouldn't play football. Big pussy. And it was just an absolute culture shock, and I didn't do that well from the get-go. I only had a half a year, and it's a great story. So they called my dad, and he brought me with me, and he said, stay in the car. And he went into the administrative building, and they basically told him to save his money because I wouldn't survive on the high school level. The high school level was across the street. It was 7th through 12th grade. And they said, Dr. Bailey, your son, the highest grade he got was a C+. And so we just don't think he's going to survive on the 7th grade level at our school. And so we suggest you just save your money. And again, I get all these, my father never told me this story. I get all these stories from my uncle. And my uncle told me that my dad told them, will you accept the check? Let me worry about Ralph. Will you accept the check? They said, of course. You want to go ahead and roll the dice with him? Fine. And so my dad got in the car, and he wouldn't start the car. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I said, what's up, Pop? And he said, they don't think you can make it. I'm like, what? They told me to save my money, that you would fail on the high school level. I said, can you do this? And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm smarter than these kids, or as smart as these kids. So why did they tell me that C+ was the highest grade you got? I said, well, it was difficult, Pop. I mean, I was doing stuff at Joe A. Gonzalez where I didn't have to study and I could get A's and B's. Now I got to study. And he said, well, then study. And he started the car and we drove off. We never spoke about it again. But I've told you, the only time my dad ever saw me play sports is the year that I absolutely lied to him and told him that it was my 9th grade JV team. And I said that, because Coach Beatty did come to me and say, if anybody's, he knew, it's a small school. So we had like 4 kids, including me, whose father was a physician. And they were like, he just came to practice and said, if one of your dads could be our team physician, that would really help us out. Well, I went and kind of ginned up the story and told my dad that we might have to cancel the JV team this year, my first year playing football, because we don't have a doctor. And Dad, well, I kind of told him that you would do it. Would you do it? And my father was like, Saturdays? You guys play on Saturdays, right? Yes. My Saturdays. Yeah, Pop. Do I have to travel with the team? Yes, Pop. You got to go with the team. We're on the road. Saturdays. Yes. Tell him I'll do it. Now get out of my bedroom. Like literally, word for word. Just go. Just go. And I've told you the story that I fell on a football. First time I'd ever had the wind knocked out of me. And I'm laying on the ground, and here comes Coach Fowler, who you may know. Gary Fowler came up here first and was first at Highland, and then he was at Centennial, and I think he retired at Golden Valley. And Coach Fowler is the first one to come over, and he's like, are you all right? And I can't talk. And, I'm in 9th grade. I'm what, 14, 15 years old, Chris? What grade are you? How old are you in 9th grade? 15, 14, 14.
Some 14,
You're
yeah.
14. Yeah, because you're 50, because you start driving in 11th grade.
Yeah.
So I'm 14 years old, and I never had the wind knocked out of me, and I think I'm dying. I literally think I'm dying. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And Coach Fowler's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, and my dad, I see my dad's shoes, and my dad comes over and he says these famous words, "Are you hurt? Are you injured?" And I don't know. I just kind of was like, he's fine. He's not. He's just hurt. And he walked away. And then Fowler started grabbing my belt buckle and trying to pump air into me. And that was the only time. And then my uncle Irvin and my dad did come to one of my baseball games where I went 2 for 3 and made a really nice catch. I played first base when I was in 9th grade, and I was a horrible hitter, but I got 2 hits the day that my dad showed up. And my mom and my aunt Sylvia, Wilbur Sewsbury's first wife, came to one of my basketball games. Like I said, it was in Buckley, but I was going to Brentwood. And it's like I said, it's like playing the team that traded you. I was not a shooter. I was not a scorer. I was a point guard. I had 18 points, 6 assists, and 9 rebounds that day, just because I was playing against Brett Aylis, one of my dear friends, and talking smack. And that was my junior year. We had a really good team at Brentwood that year. We had a really, really good team. Ted Shumway, Billy Vaughn. It was so good Tempero didn't even make the team. The pretty boy quarterback. The only thing that Tempero couldn't do was play basketball. But he was one of the best baseball players I ever saw. He was a pretty good quarterback, really good athlete, but he wasn't a really good basketball player. And that was about the only time my mother saw me play sports. And that's why I always kind of relate to that cats in the cradle, because my dad was either working, reading, or sleeping. That was his life. And all he wanted, he would say this, all I want is to go out and have a nice meal with my wife every now and again, and I'm good. That was his life, his family, his work, and his work. And that's why I think, they always say it's genes, well, my dad had 2 brothers, and they're still alive. One's 88, one's 80. So it can't be the genes. I really believe that my father just worked himself to death. He was one of the hardest working men I've ever met in my life to this day. Like I said, he had 3 heart attacks. The third one obviously was fatal, but his second heart attack, he went back to work like 2 weeks after he got out of the hospital, despite all of us begging him to just take some time. He was like, "No, what are you talking about? Take some time. I'm fine. Nothing wrong with me." And he was eating right. He lost weight. He was walking. He was doing all the right things. And one Saturday morning, they were headed to LA, and he died on the corner of White Lane and Gosford. And the bizarre thing about his death is Roxana lived right around the corner on Hilton Head Drive, right off of Gosford. So I was about a mile away from where my dad died that morning. Isn't that crazy? I got a phone call because I was doing a morning show at the time with Chris Porphyry, and you had to sign out at a number where they could reach you at all times. And I spent a lot of time with Roxana, so I'd have to give that number. And somehow Wilbur Sewsbury got a hold of Chris. Chris gave him his number, and it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and Roxana said, "It's for you." And I was like, "What?" And it was Sewsbury, and he said, "Just call your mom." And I said, "Well, just tell me what's going on." And after begging him like 3 or 4 times, he finally said, your dad has passed. And I just remember, I didn't drop the phone, but I just started back stepping. That was my only response. I just started backing up and then just put down the phone and went outside and sat on the grass for about 45 minutes, and then went to my mother's house and started the whole process. Of taking my dad to Los Angeles, where we had a memorial service for him, and then we took him to Beaufort, where he's buried in Beaufort next to his father and his mother. And I've done it again, haven't I, Chris? How is that? Did I always end the show with some maudlin, horrible death story or something horrific? I'm sorry. I don't know how I do that. I guess it's better than starting like that.
Yeah, I guess.
But I always look at telling stories about my family as a positive. My mother's not happy with me now because I told a story about my sister. And one of y'all contacted my mother because there's no way my mother routinely listens to the show. One of y'all called my mother and said, Ralph's talking about Patrice and blah, blah, blah.
Who ratted you out? That's
I have
messed
no
up.
idea. And I haven't asked my mother. We haven't even talked about it. But somebody ratted me out. Or maybe my mom does. Without my knowledge, just tune in. Maybe she watches on YouTube.
Well, now that we're on YouTube, she can go back and watch it at any point in time.
That's my guess. Somebody said he mentioned that. She went back on YouTube and watched it. I find it hard to believe that she's just casually watched. She never mentions that she listens. Maybe she does. Who knows? Let us go ahead and take our final break of the night. Tomorrow is a Thursday. Mr. Turnipseed from Current Tax, who wrote a very articulate, intelligent, well-written, little wordy. Everybody needs an editor, Mike. You should have came to me. I could have cut that down to half of what you wrote, to be honest with you. But a very articulate, intelligent community voice. Go check it out in today's Bakersfield, California. He'll be with us, Executive Director of Current Tax, along with our money man, Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And I think that's about it. And I've got the hiccups. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. In the meantime, you are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show, Ralph Bailey Jr., on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230, where we stream live at currentradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we got the latest on our road improvements downtown. We're halfway there. We got more rich people angry about poor people moving in next door.
You ready? Chris. You ready? 3, 2. So opening statements for Rafael Estrada, the man who allegedly, what did he do? He slit. That's the word I was looking for. 3, 2. So opening statements for the trial of Rafael Estrada, the man who allegedly slit his wife's throat in front of his child, has begun. He started with willful cruelty and first-degree murder, among other charges. Let's just all hope that our DA doesn't cut a plea deal with this one. She did with a human trafficker. She did with a man that killed a grandmother in a high state. So let's hope she doesn't cut a deal this time. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Thursday TRBS. Well, it's a Thursday. Michael Turnipseed, Current Tax. We'll talk about his community voice that appeared in the newspaper, along with our money man, Daniel Petrie from Messmaker Petrie Wealth Advisors. All of that plus me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. I will see you at 3.
Two callers. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you.
I'm going to owe $368. I just was in total disbelief.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Gail did and call TRA for a consultation.
I was so blessed with TRA.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-544-7357. 800-544-7357. That's 800-544-7357.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 12.
All over the place. We are watching KABC News. Could we get that every day? I would love to watch KABC.
We might be able to.
Yeah. Who you got?
Mr. Hart's on the line first.
I left Mike Hart in
Yeah.
El Segundo. Haven't heard a lot from you lately, sir. Where have you been?
Yeah, hang on one second. Yeah, and then he was telling the story about how he tricked your husband into becoming the physician on the football team. Yeah, I'm on with him right now.
You're
I'll call
talking-
you
you're
next
talking
week,
with-
Mom.
Talking
All
with
right, Mom,
Harriet?
thanks.
Yeah, okay. Talking with Harriet, are you? Okay.
Hey, Ralph, what's going on?
That's great. You're the rat. I knew there was a rat. I knew it. I knew there was a leak. I knew it. I should have known it was you.
I tune in for 3 minutes, and that's what I have to deal with. That's what I got to listen to. You know what you did make me think of when my dad used to be a timer.
Yeah.
When we were swimmers. And here's how long ago that was. In the 70s, my dad standing behind the blocks. There's a picture of him standing behind the blocks. Got the stopwatch in one hand, one of the first digital stopwatches back in those days. He's got his other hand up in the air and a Tiparillo cigar in his mouth as he's timing. Everybody's smoking behind the blocks. I'm sure he had a cocktail somewhere.
Oh, nice.
It's
Nice.
probably underneath the chair.
I think
This
my
is like 74, 75.
I think my dad purposely dissuaded me from being an athlete because from about 9th grade till 11th grade, I truly thought I could be a professional athlete. Because we have two sides of the family, obviously, my dad's side and my mom's side. I am identical with my mom's side of the family. I look like them, I act like them. My sister is the epitome of my dad's side of the family. She's dark-skinned. She was dark-skinned. She did not drink like my father didn't drink, like my uncles both don't drink. And she was of that school. I was of the Dolly side of the family. We all partied. And they were all tall. My grandmother was 5'11". My mother's mother was 5'11". My grandfather was 6'5". My mother's brother was 6'5". So my mother, because my feet are shaped like your hand, where my second toe and even my third toe challenges my big toe. And my mother told me that was a sign of height. And I just kept waiting. You know, I always heard stories of like Michael Jordan, who grew like 5 inches over one summer, or Anthony Davis, the reason he has a handle because he was a point guard and he grew like 5 inches one summer. So I would always think, wait till next summer, I'm gonna be 6'3", 6'4", playing at West LA on my way to the NBA. And my father just knew, this boy, you ain't got the skill, son. And so I think he dissuaded me, because I literally, when people would ask me, what are you gonna do in 10th, 11th grade? I would say, I'm gonna be a professional athlete. And it wasn't until I went to Morehouse on my very first day, and Brett Easton from Macon, Georgia, 5'9" of him, schooled me 11'3", 11'6", 11'5". And I was like, wow,
I am not an athlete.
Well, my dad knew better, and he told me at a very early age, you know what, son, you've got a good voice. You should be an announcer.
Did he? Shut up. Did he really?
No.
I was going to say.
Come on. I'm trying to help you end on an up note here.
In some
I'm trying to
respects,
help you.
in some respects, my father did lurch me into my career. We're on the plane to Atlanta going to Morehouse. And we've been on the plane for about a half an hour. And he asks me, have you figured out a major yet? And to make a long story short, because I only got 2 minutes, for the next half hour, I say I maybe study political science because I'd like to be a politician. I might do this. I might do that. I might do this. And finally, my dad got so tired of me talking, he said, well, I don't know what you're going to do, Ralph, but I know one thing. You damn sure know how to run your damn mouth. And a light bulb went on. I was like, he's right. That's what I'll do. I'll get into television or a newspaper or radio. And I got to Morehouse, and the radio station was a joke. The Maroon Tiger was a joke. And I just started writing for people.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how it happens. My uncle was a correspondent for NBC News, and I always wanted to be like him.
Really?
Except not at the network level.
So I never want to be at the network.
Tom Brokaw would go, and now we go to correspondent Lee McCarthy in Jerusalem. Lee, thank you, Tom.
Wow.
Be one of those guys.
Yeah, that's why I never wanted to do national. I couldn't run around the country the way these guys do. I watch the Today Show and I see the reporters and they're in different cities literally every day.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
That's what he said to me. He said, if you want a home life, don't be a network guy.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't do it. Always good to
talk
hear
to you
from
soon,
you.
brother.
All right, always good to hear from you. Come in studio sometime soon.
You got it.
See you, man. That's where I saw Buddy Holly. Turn around. Oh, you missed it. The Cinerama Dome. They just showed it on TV. I got to get out of here. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I'll rap to you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
And Keith Peters in Washington. Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned Asian leaders Wednesday that Iran's demands to control and collect tolls in the Strait of Hormuz would threaten the world's economy and set a precedent that could be repeated elsewhere in the world. Rubio says the U.S. attacks on Iran are a response to Iranian attacks in the Strait of Hormuz.
Commercial ships are going through the straits and they're being blown up. The United States is defending that shipping and, in addition, is targeting the places that are launching against those ships to continue to degrade Iran's ability to target and harm global shipping.
The U.S. military has announced that it is conducting a 12th night of strikes against Iran as both sides increasingly target civilian infrastructure. Opening statements began in the trial of the man accused of trying to kill author Salman Rushdie.
Prosecutors and defense lawyers gave opening statements Wednesday in 28-year-old Hadi Matar's federal terrorism trial in Buffalo, New York.